It's that time of year. The air crisp, the trees bare. And just as the winds of change beckon in a new season, same is true in collegiate sports.
What he hung checkmate!
My God!
The gridiron makes way for the hardcourt as the world awaits that which is the most dramatic of all. Rivalries, Davids, Goliaths, and upsets.
Blunder the queen! Blunder the queen!
This is the time of year for brackets, soon to be the time of year we've all come to know as March Madness. And on the 64-square chessboard, some things are different, but some are the same.
There is the draw by repetition.
The CCL is back as college's best compete for their moment in the sun.
Whoa!
Will the Billikens of St. Louis University three-peat and cement themselves as a dynasty in collegiate chess?
Huge congratulations to SLU winning the championship.
Or will six-time national champions Webster University bring their championship pedigree to the CCL? There are President's Cup winners, favorites, underdogs, and sure to be plenty of drama. This is the 2024 Collegiate Chess League spring season, and it starts now.
And with that, welcome to the 2024 Collegiate Chess League spring season presented by SIG. I'm Anna Cramling, and I'm going to be your host together with the amazing Joe Lee. Joe, how are you doing? Are you excited?
I am so excited for this, Anna. It's been a long time since the last season ended back in November, and now we have a new season here in the spring with an amazing lineup for Division 1. Anna, thanks for joining, and are you excited for this?
I am really excited. I missed the fall season, unfortunately, so I can't wait to be able to follow the spring season. Now, today's the first day of a new season, and we have some breaking news right out of the gate. We all want to see the champions, but we had a scheduling conflict. Joe, you are also the CCL commissioner. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we had registration in last week, and the season was just announced pretty much yesterday for the schedule. And unfortunately, University of Chicago was unable to commit their full lineup today against SLU, the defending champs. So instead, we're going to be watching University of Texas Dallas take on University of Texas at Rio Grande Valley. So we have an in-state Texas rivalry match to show here for match 1.
Exactly, yeah. And I've never been to Texas, but I'm excited to watch this. Now, if you missed the CCL fall season, this is the format. So it's 4 versus 4 team chess. All boards play against each other. The time control is 5+2. First to 8.5 points wins the match. And well, you get a point per win. You get half a point per draw. And if the tie breaks, or if it's tied, then it will be going to tie breaks.
Yeah, that's right, Anna. If it's 8-8, we go to round 5, which is 3+2 time control. And if it's still tied after that, you go to 1+2 bullet with some increment. So it can get really exciting. These Texas teams are really evenly matched, and I can't wait to see who wins, actually. Just for a little context, Anna, last season, UT Dallas is actually the runner-up. So they lost to SLU in the finals. But yeah, we've got a ton of star-studded teams here for all these divisions. We've got SLU, obviously, at the top. They're the back-to-back defending champs. Missouri, seed number 2. Webster's joining for the first time this season. We've got the 2 Texas teams. We have 2 international teams joining for the first time as well. University of Athens as well as Prague University. And that's really exciting, Anna. Have you heard of any of these European teams having chess teams?
I have not, actually. I have not. I do know that chess is pretty big in Europe, obviously. So I'm not surprised that they have them, but I'm really happy to see some European teams being part of this too, being European myself. So it's really fun to see some more international teams this season too. Now, Joe, apart from the defending champions, St. Louis University, who else do you think we should keep an eye on this season?
Well, I think the biggest name we have to keep an eye on is obviously going to be Webster. As we see here, they are the last year's President Cup winner, and they are joining the CCL for the very first time. And we're actually going to watch them with their CCL debut as match 2 later today. So are there any teams that maybe you're interested in seeing besides them?
I think St. Louis University, obviously, that's for me one of the most famous ones. I've heard about them a lot. So I'm excited to see what they got to bring to the table this season. But I'm also, like I said, very excited to see the international teams and see what players they might have and see how they do this season. So very excited about that.
Yeah, honestly, any team we watch, it's going to be an exciting match. And we actually are watching one of the international teams playing against Webster later today. They're playing against Athens. So have you ever been to Greece?
I have several times actually to play chess, Joe. So I've been to Greece several times, but here we have the board assignment. So here on the left, we can see UT Dallas, and on the right, UTRGV. And we can see the different boards. Now, these are some really strong players that we're seeing. I mean, people might think about college chess and think that, oh, these are just students playing chess, but that is not the case. These are some extremely strong chess players, much better than you and me, Joe. Wow, like they're grandmasters, 2800 rated. This is Chess.com rating, but still, this is absolutely amazing.
They're definitely better than me, but I know I've seen you hold your ground against a couple grandmasters. Like I saw you had a draw against Ludwig Hammer recently, so you know.
I did. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But these players are definitely on a whole other level. And we can see here the round by round lineup. So we're seeing board number 1 playing as board number 4, board 2 versus 3, etc. So here we can see the pairings. And I feel like in a way, Joe, the most kind of decisive games could be in the board 1s versus 4s. Those could be the most important games simply because we have the biggest kind of rating difference. Do you agree with that?
Definitely. So we're going to see some mismatches here in round 1, but as you mentioned, these players are just on a different caliber. Even the board 4s for some of these teams are grandmasters. Looking at UT Dallas there, they have Balaji Dagupati on board 4, but obviously we're going off of Chess.com blitz ratings. So anything can happen in a blitz game, right? Like an IM can upset a GM at any moment. We've actually seen non-titled players sometimes take down titled opponents in the CCL. But I also want to mention UTRGV. It looks like they only have 2 GMs on the lineup, but Sean Rodriguez Lemieux is actually GM elect. He earned his last norms and rating that he needed. He just needs it confirmed. So basically, these 2 teams, it's as even as it gets. I can't wait to see the action start. So it should be starting any moment. And Anna, you said you've never been to Texas. Well, we're going to see some Texas chess here in just a moment. But yeah, I can't wait.
I've actually been to the airport of Dallas, Joe. That is the only place I've been to in Texas. But do you think there's any extra rivalry, today because of the fact that they're from the same state? Do you think that they kind of want to win against each other a tiny bit more?
Oh, for sure. Definitely. There's a rivalry here between these 2 Texan teams. They're both from University of Texas system, but there's a lot of pride on the line between these 2 programs. They've played a lot in the past. UT Rio Grande Valley actually hosted this year's Pan Ams, which just happened earlier this month, actually. And I believe University of Missouri won first place qualifying for the President's Cup. So that's going to happen later in the year. But right now we've got the games starting and there is a 30-second stagger between each game. But we've got round 1 underway. Ivan versus Tianki. How do you like this opening so far for White?
Yes. Well, I actually quite like it. I think that I really like it actually when you fianchetto your bishop. So I think that this looks pretty comfortable for White. But I mean, we're seeing a standard opening. We're seeing both players playing really fast. Obviously, this is a blitz game, so they're going to have to play fast the whole game. But we're seeing that it's kind of becoming a little bit symmetrical. I mean, both White and Black with fianchettoing, although it's starting to look a little bit more comfortable for Black, seeing as if they're getting a little bit more of space advantage right of the opening, a little bit more center, etc. So I'm a little bit surprised here maybe about Tianqi's opening choice. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, Black has this really strong center. There wasn't time to take on d4 for anyone wondering, as that would open up for Black's bishop, and White hadn't castled yet. So we see both sides castle kingside, rooks to the e file. Black enjoying definitely a little bit of that space advantage, like you mentioned. However, white is up a little bit on time, uh, almost 50 seconds. Not too much in a 5-minute game, but you can tell that they're still very comfortable here, just remaneuvering. And looks like white's going to go for another fianchetto.
I think so, yeah, but I think that looks terrifying. Like opening up that diagonal for Black's light squared bishop, it just looks so strong. And White had to go g3 to prevent the knight from coming up to f4, but it just looks so scary to have that bishop there, I think. So yeah, like you said, Joe, I think White has to re-fianchetto that bishop, and that's why they're playing bishop f1, bishop g2. But if Black at any point can get, I suppose e4 is not really something that Black can go for as the d4 pawn would be hanging, but it definitely feels like it's Black that has the initiative here, and White is, I guess, trying to do something on the queen side instead. But I mean, I always say, Joe, if someone is attacking me on the king and I'm attacking on the queen side, I'm the one that's scared, because if they checkmate me, the consequences are worse than if I'm able to create some weaknesses on the queen side.
Yeah, I mean, queen to b3, definitely, I think a good idea. Trying to play for c5, going after that bishop on b7. So Black just moves the bishop out of the b file, and we see our first question mark on the board there. A mistake, perhaps, although it looks like Black is still doing just fine. But yeah, White's definitely trying to trade off some pieces. There's definitely some pressure that could come. But I think so far, it's still pretty solid, still pretty even. But we do have some other games also that have started now. Would you want to take a look at maybe some of the other games going on?
Yes, let's check out Bird's View and see all the boards to see if there's any other game that's looking interesting right now. And let's maybe go ahead and check out maybe that second game, that second board, because I'm seeing a very strong knight right there in the center. And I'm kind of, is there a king on f6, Joe?
Oh my goodness, what's that king doing there? We got to take a look
What is the
back
king doing on f6? We have to check that out. This is actually insane. Okay, so let's maybe go, yeah, a few moves back and see what it is that happened. So far it looks normal. We saw a little bit of repetition over there. Black did not want to repeat, and then a trade of bishops.
Knight
Oh,
takes,
wow.
king takes, trying to reserve the pawn structure. Black maintaining a 2-on-1 in the center. But that king on f6, definitely not a natural place to be. Maybe is this cause for concern for Black, or are they totally comfortable?
You know, the eval bar thinks it's equal, which I think right now, seeing this, it just looks crazy. But the thing is that after the king goes back to g7, which, you know, it does, there's really not anything really going on with that king. The king is pretty safe, especially because of the fact that White doesn't have any dark squared bishop that can really attack it. So the king is actually safer than what we might think. And I think in even some scenarios, that rook on g3 could maybe become even a little bit awkward if you're not able to do anything with that rook.
Yeah. The king on f6, definitely awkward, and White was able to get a check-in with their rook, but after the knight got to e5, attacking the rook goes to the g file opposite the king, and now White's adding this h-pawn into the attack, trying to open things up. But Black's just continuing. They're playing on the queen side, trading some pawns, and now this c-pawn is isolated, attacked by both queen and rook, but Black just brings the rook to the b file. Do you think White can stir up any trouble with these pieces, or is there just not enough?
I feel like in a way it just looks scary, but I don't see exactly how White is actually going to go for the checkmate, you know? And so I'm seeing some more long-term weaknesses for White. With that c-pawn being an isolated pawn that Black can attack throughout the rest of the game, it's definitely going to be a long-term weakness. And if Black ultimately is able to pick up this pawn, it's just going to be, you know, a pawn-up endgame for Black, which I almost have the feeling is what we're going to see unless White is able to do something with the attack that they have going on.
Yeah, White just played king h2, getting out of this pin and releasing the f-pawn. f4, definitely one of the more natural moves. Computer doesn't like it because it wanted to play h6 while the queen was still there and make this pawn really put some pressure onto those dark squares that you mentioned. Instead, we see f4 immediately, maybe missing out on the opportunity to play h6, but I like this pawn duo in the center for White, probably going to play for f5 when the time is right.
Yeah, probably gonna play for f5, and I mean it could definitely get scary for black. This is something that's easy to say, oh, it's equal, but if you're actually sitting there with this position as black, I do think that this is the sort of scenario where you start feeling a little bit under pressure, especially because there could also be ideas of going maybe at some point rook h3 and trying to open up the h file and trying to maybe bring up a queen to h6 somehow, stuff like that. So there's definitely worry here, I think, but we see e5 and then f5. That's actually a very nice idea, eliminating that square for the knight to go to.
Yeah, I was saying f5 is the next choice, but inserting e5 first, making sure that black has those double pawns, taking away the square from the knight, like you mentioned, and then going with f5. I really like how white's playing this. This is a gambit, but there's a lot of momentum here for white's position, and it's going to be really hard to defend if some of these files start opening up against black's king.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what you're saying. I think white needs momentum to do something, because if white doesn't have momentum, they're just going to be in a worse endgame. So it's nice to see white playing so actively, and we can see completely two opposite things going on. Black is trying to get some activity on the queen side. White is trying to, well, just destroy that king, basically. We're seeing now some trades with the pawns in front of the king just to try to eliminate some of those defenders. But yeah, we see also a check, and then the king went back to g1. So white also needs to make sure that their king doesn't get weak in any way.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a crazy position. It's very awkward if you were to take back. The queen is tied down to defending this pawn, as well as now your pawns are completely doubled and isolated. And white's going to bring another attacker to that g6 square. So really awkward to figure out what to even do here. What would you play as black?
I was first looking at what happens if something like queen c5 check, just to see where this king goes. But I suppose that if something like queen c5 check, you just go rook e3 and block it, and now the queen is just not defending g6 anymore, so you're just losing a tempo as black. So there's really not anything going on with that. It's not really a move. Is that what we've seen on the game, by the way, Joe?
This is the live position, Anna. We just saw your queen c5 idea, and now white is crushing the position here. The best move apparently is f5, just to delay the queen, or to not allow that g-pawn to take with check. Is black going to play this? And they don't play it. Oh my goodness, we're going to see a mate soon, Anna.
Oh, this is falling apart completely. That king doesn't have any defenders at all. I mean, now it just feels like the queen comes up to g6, like we're seeing on the board. There has to be a checkmate coming very soon. We are going to see a checkmate in
rook
two,
f3.
actually, right?
Rook f3 is mate.
Rook f3. It's just over.
It's mate in one. Wow.
It's mate in one. Wow.
That's the first game of the Collegiate Chess League, Anna. What a finish from Sean Rodriguez Lemieux, GM elect from UTRGV, getting them the first point of the season. Let's check out Bird's Eye View. We've got some other games still going on.
That was beautiful, by the way. It felt like a completely equal position that just somehow took a drastic turn. So let's maybe check out game number 3. We haven't seen it, but it does look like it could be decisive at any point. So Andriy Makovey versus Gleb Dudin. It looks completely crushing. Wait, the moment I said that, Joe, the evil bar just went down. I think I jinxed it.
Classic commentator curse. Your first of probably many, Anna. It happens to me as well. Yeah, I mean, we watched these players play last season. Andriy Makovey is actually the captain of this Dallas team. He is their international master. I actually saw him just recently last month at North American Open in Vegas. So good to see him back captaining his team again, playing. And he was doing great with the white pieces, but his opponent Gleb Dudin here, Grandmaster, putting up some defense and making it tricky. And it's getting down to about a minute each. This is basically bullet at this point.
Yeah, this is now very, they have very little time left, only 45 seconds. I mean, this has turned to obviously an endgame, but It looks kind of interesting because it feels like both white and black have some good paths for their knights. I mean, knight d4 looks strong. Black has knight c4. That's a great outpost for the knight. So even though black maybe has a few weak pawns and white has a really strong king, it looks like is king? No, king c5 cannot be played now. I just wanted to see if the king could go all the way up, but no, it went to c3. Yeah.
And king c5 would have been really scary, especially because after this rook check, notice the knight blocking both e5 and e3. This bishop picks up e4, picks up g2, and I'm really starting to like black's position. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a lot of weak pawns. Okay, we see b5 fall. Now the knight's hanging. So knight to e3, maybe just bringing the knight back, putting pressure on some more of black's pieces. I guess it's an even position, but I'm not locking Andrei's time management. He's got less than 20 seconds.
And you know what I think is really scary? I think that e-pawn that black has is really scary because it's a pawn that you can just at some point just push. And what do you do when that pawn starts pushing? It feels like it's very hard for white to defend it because the bishop is so out of game too on f8.
Oh man, and it's hard to defend it too. We see a knight check. This king is tied down to the defense of this knight because the rook is putting pressure. So we're seeing more checks. 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds for Andrei.
Oh, he has so little time. He has so little time. He is getting 2-second increment per move, but it's so difficult. And it feels like Gleb Durin is just so routine. He looks so calm right now.
And he's going after this weak c pawn.
Yeah,
5 seconds.
He's
got to
so
move.
low on time.
He brings the king back. Oh, now there's discoveries.
This is so difficult to play with that bishop. 1 second. The pawn falls, but if he takes the pawn, there's rook takes g4.
He's going for this pawn trade. It's still an even position, but I don't know how you play this with less than 5 seconds on your clock.
No, I have no idea how you play it. And this is already so much easier for black to play. The plans are so much simpler. Just maybe try to defend that pawn and then go for the c2 pawn. But now we can see Gleb Durin is also getting low on time. Less than 10 seconds. This is going to be equally low for both. Bishop f3. King goes back.
He couldn't find the win. He didn't want to trade the pawns. He thought it would simplify too much. So they settle on repetition. Wow. So 2 more results. We have one last game happening on board 4 that we haven't looked at yet. Let's take a quick look at Bird's Eye, and we can move on to the last game of the round. We can see
also the result of game number 1. We can see that Ivan Shitko won. So let's check out board number 4 and see what is happening. Oh, wow. This is an endgame 2 versus 1.
Victor had 1 second when he made that move.
Oh, my.
He's going to flag.
Oh, is he going to flag? Is it over?
My goodness.
He flags. Wow. Being in a better position, too.
We saw the first dirty flag of the season.
That is part of Blitz, Joe. That is literally part of Blitz, but it must hurt at that point knowing that you can push that B pawn, B2. At least I think you can, right? B2, and then probably have an advantage, but to lose on time there. But that is crazy.
That is a tough loss there for Viktor Gajic. And with that, we have the first round results. 2.5 in favor of Dallas to UTRGV's 1.5 points. So it's a close match. We still have 3 rounds remaining. Reminder, it's first to 8.5 wins. So Dallas with the 1-point lead, but is it going to stay? Anna, how'd you feel about that first round?
Honestly, I think that UTRGV had some great games. I mean, we can see obviously this flag happen in that game. Andrei was also a lot under pressure. So I do think that we could see a different result now this next round. I really do think that could happen. So 1-point lead is not that much. Like you said, anything can happen. We still have plenty of games to go. So I think round number 2 is going to start very, very, very soon.
Yeah, it's crazy. If Viktor Gajic won that game and didn't flag, like we'd see the complete reverse score. It'd be 2.5 for UTRGV. So really anything can happen in Blitz with this fast time control. The increment helps, but it's really not that much.
No, it's really not. It's really not. But I also think what's fun is that you can see here that every single game matters. that one game really makes now Dallas be on the lead. And that's the fun part about team competitions, that you're in a team and every single point matters and you're in it together. And I love team tournaments. Have you ever played a team tournament, Joe?
Yeah, I've played two. Here in the US, we have amateur team events. So essentially there's 4 in each region, one like in the West, one in the East, one in the North, one in the South. So I played US Amateur Team West twice for the UCLA team, actually. It's not just for college, it's for amateur teams, so literally anyone can submit teams. But yeah, CCL didn't exist when I was in school, so I'm really glad that it's a thing for these college teams to compete in. And we've got round 2 about to begin any second here. But how about yourself, Anna? Have you played in any team events?
I have played team events. I've represented Sweden in the Olympiad. I've played European Team Chess Championships. And in that way, I've played team events, but I've never been to college. So I would not even have had the opportunity to participate in this. Because you, Joe, you've been to college, obviously, even though, unfortunately, this didn't exist back then. But I've just never been to college.
Well, you're not in college, but you are commentating for colleges now. I mean, maybe there's some Swedish schools that, oh my God, these players are playing lightning fast on board 1.
Yeah, we're gonna check it out immediately. This is going very fast. What is even happening here? I think we're seeing, is this a theoretical line?
I mean, they've barely been a few seconds in. They've already played 10 moves.
I think it is. I think it is. They're playing extremely fast over here. Okay, so bishop c5 was the last move played.
Yeah, we see a trade of the light square bishops. Now an isolated e pawn for black. White probably just going to bring the knight out and get castled. Yep.
Yeah, pretty quickly. Bring a rook to the e file, attack that pawn, get the dark squared bishop out, and then yeah, just put both rooks into the center. And I guess here white has the slight advantage that e pawn is an isolated pawn, I suppose. But it doesn't feel like a huge advantage in any way, to be honest.
Yeah, it's they got the queens traded off, so no clear particular danger. Sometimes like there's this rook f3 sacrifice. I don't think there's a lot here, but we see king up to e2 anyways. Is this
okay?
Delayed bong cloud, if you will?
We cannot call this a bong cloud, Joe. I don't think we can. Kings are supposed to be active in endgames. It makes sense to bring the king to the center in a way. Although what does surprise me, I suppose, is the fact that I thought that a rook was going to be going to the e file, and now you're kind of blocking a rook from doing so. So now the rook goes to d1 instead. But another idea, you know what it might be? To go bishop e3 and to have that king protecting that bishop there. So maybe that was the idea of king e2, because otherwise the bishop could get a little bit awkward.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If you go bishop e3 right away, then you too would have that isolated pawn. So white keeping the pawn in balance in their favor, right? This knight looking to pick that pawn up, maybe with the fork, although you don't really want to take it because you're going to line yourself up with some pins. So is there a higher purpose behind knight d4? Do you think the king's going to tuck back on f1? Or is that going to run into some issues?
I think just in general, I mean, the knight is pretty active. Maybe you're even going to go knight b3 at some point. I'm not sure, but we should maybe check out some more games as well. Let's check out the bird's eye view to not miss any games. We have, maybe let's look at game number 2. It feels like there's an a pawn there that is pretty advanced. And I'm kind of intrigued to see what's happening.
Definitely. Pulling that game up right now. Looks like we've got Raul versus Tianqi. And yeah, a pawn all the way on a5. It's attacked twice now by queen and bishop. So b4, definitely the most logical move. Comes with tempo against the knight. Defends the a pawn. Also makes way for the dark square bishop to come to b2, putting even more pressure on the center. I feel like this is pretty standard setup for white. And you can also tell on the clock, Raul's up a minute and a half, more than that, against Tianqi with the black pieces.
He's up a lot of time. So yeah, this definitely is very important. But we're seeing a knight takes e4. Okay. And now a trade of knights.
Also,
What
shout out
is
to
happening?
Chess24 for the raid. Thank you and welcome, everyone. How's Tata Steel going? But if you're new here, welcome. Anna and I are covering the Collegiate Chess League Spring 2024 season presented by SIG. This is the season debut. So you guys are tuning in at the perfect time. We're watching a Texas rivalry match between Dallas and Rio Grande Valley. This is round 2 of 4. So, Anna, welcome to all the Raiders, right? Do you have
Yes.
a recap of what happened so far in round 1?
Well, it was pretty crazy, but we saw ultimately the University of Dallas taking the upper hand and winning by 1 point. So it's right now 1 point up for Dallas, and now obviously we are seeing we're seeing them trying to keep that advantage, but there's going to be 4 rounds, so there's still plenty of games to go, and we're right now watching a really fun game. Raul playing right now at Tianqi, and I mean, this is now going to turn a bit crazy. Queen h5, the queen is going all the way up. We can see that all the pieces are kind of putting pressure on that e5 pawn. And I don't know if you're going to be able to defend it as black, because you don't really ever want to go f6, I think, as bishop e4 could come with a lot of force, threatening h7. You can't go g6 then, really. So I think we're just seeing white having a lot of initiative.
Yeah, Queen h5 just bringing in the heavy hitters right against Black's king. Even though Eval Bar says it's even, the clock to me says it all. 1.5 to 4.5 minutes, and White's just adding more fuel to the fire. The knight is joining the party. There we see the f6 move that you didn't want to play, but Black felt the need to prevent knight g5. And now when the knight moves, as you mentioned, bishop e4, that's going to be yet another piece into the attack. Do you think, okay, we see the bishop rerouting actually coming back to d3, maybe even sacrificing the knight at certain moments?
Maybe, but I think also with the bishop on f7, it's going to be maybe easier now for black to defend all of this. As g6, well, I mean, there would be a bishop there. But I wanted to say, Joe, me, myself, I'm a person that plays pretty slow. So I am used to being low on time. I think that even if you're low on time, some players might be very experienced at having little time. And so it's not everything. It's a big, signal to see, obviously, who's better, as time is very important here. But I don't think it's everything.
That might be true, but I know that if I had to choose between having over 4 minutes on the clock and less than 1 minute, I'm going to take the side that's over 4 minutes 10 times out of 10. And right now, we see an X on that last move, but I don't think it matters because White's playing these moves instantly. And there's g6, queen moves, and now f6 is a weak target. It's a weakness that's also a target.
Target and weakness. Tiredness. That's a new word, Joe. I love it. I'm going to start using it myself. Tiredness. What I am shocked about is seeing bishop f1, bishop d3. The bishop just moved twice. I don't know. I really do like black's position. I don't think the king is weak anymore with the queen on e7, but we're seeing now a new plan for white of just going b4, b5. And it is true that black only has 30 seconds left. This is actually insane, the very shortage of time. So a big blunder could come at any moment. I want to see more games, but I also want to see if black blunders here because we're getting very low on time.
I'm expecting blunders at this point. Bishop to c4 check, king in the corner, opposite this bishop. When are we going to see some sacrifice? f6 is so weak. The bishop barely holding on to e5. White needs one more piece to follow through, and there's f4. Seriously trying to break this open.
Yeah, just it's so hard to play this with black with this, amount of time. And I think that's what Rahul is trying to do. He's just really trying to put that pressure when he's up on time because, I think he thinks that Tianqi is at some point going to make a mistake. But we're seeing the Eval kind of going up and forth. Rook e8. What is happening here?
Oh man, is there knight f6 now? What's the move?
Knight f6.
Oh, we see a blunder.
Oh, the Eval just took a huge turn. Wow.
But it's going back in White's favor.
Is Rahul playing too fast? Is that possible? I think it might be.
It doesn't matter though. Tianqi's just not seeing the breakthrough. We see a trade of rooks. This should help black out, alleviate some pressure.
Definitely trades here for black is what he wants, just to get us as few as many pieces off the board as possible. White's rook is coming in, but now there's just not that much pressure anymore from White, I feel like. I mean, Black is definitely being able to get out of this big tangle or big spider's net or whatever you want to call. So Queen e7 with 13 seconds left. You know, Rahul does have 3 minutes. He could play a little bit slower and try to figure out a plan.
It's all gas, no brakes. He's not letting up on any of the pressure. But I'm so impressed with how Tianqi's been defending so far. Can he keep it up? This is so impressive.
It is very impressive. Now the bishop is coming back. Those bishops are looking very strong towards the king, though. Knight threatens the bishop. The bishop has 2 move. Pawn on b6 is hanging, but there's a pin.
Oh
I'm
my
so
gosh.
impressed. I am so
The knight
impressed
on
by
e4
Tianqi.
Black is holding on to the position by a thread. He's defending e6 just barely enough with this knight on e4. 2 seconds, though. b5. I'm surprised Raul. This is the longest thing Raul's ever had.
Yeah, now he's starting to think. Maybe I should have done that a little bit earlier, but there's still, I mean, that f6 pawn is still very weak. Tianqi needs to be super focused with 4 seconds on the clock, you know?
Why has he not played bishop b3? Like, isn't that an instant move?
Maybe he wants to play bishop
he wants
d3.
to take on f6?
I don't think he wants to take on f6. Is that what he's calculating?
What's wrong with bishop f6? The knight's pinned.
Well, the rook is hanging on d1, Joe. So he needs to move the rook first, and he does.
Oh,
but
now bishop f6! Bishop f6 forced mate!
Yeah, and he sees it! It's a forced mate!
Oh my goodness.
Or the queen falls, and there we go. You were right, Joe, that at the end he would fall for the pressure and time trouble. Tianqi with a brilliant move. Raul played bishop takes f6, brilliant move. What a game we saw there. That is insane. Wow, the eval bar just went crazy.
Wow, and you called it too. Bishop f6 wasn't working because the rook on d1 was hanging. So we see rook a1 first, not playing what I thought was the safest bet, saving the bishop. But wow, we see the first brilliancy of the season. Bishop f6, winning the queen, winning the game. What an awesome match.
Amazing match. Before the other games finish, let's go ahead and check out some of the other boards. Let's go into bird's eye. We can see that this was the first finish result of this round number 2 with Rahul winning for Dallas. Let's check out maybe game number 4. We're seeing that this could be very soon a decisive game as well between Grandmaster Gleb Durin and Grandmaster Balaji Dagupati. And I am very sorry if I'm pronouncing these names wrong.
I think you nailed it. But yeah, we saw there's also results on board 1. Sean Rodriguez Lemieux getting a win. And yeah, board 4 here. Time scramble for Balaji. He's got 5 seconds to Gleb Durin's minute and 20 seconds. So another one of these time scrambles. And looks like White is just dominating up a piece. Am I right? Am I missing that?
No, I think you're right. It feels like White's... No, I was going to say it feels like White's pieces are a bit tangled, but they're not. They're not tangled. It's just a full-on extra piece, which is why that eval bar is saying that White is completely winning. But obviously... And also the time. I mean, look at those 4 seconds that Black has.
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time until White can convert this. So Black maybe playing to lengthen out the match just a little bit. You know, sometimes it's good and helpful if you can tire out your opponent before the next round. And I believe we are going on a break actually before round 3. So maybe a little bit of a break in between these rounds for the players to get some rest. But right now it's all Whites. Black just kind of delaying the inevitable here.
Yeah, it is sad to say that it is the inevitable, but I do agree with you, Joe. I think it is. It's probably going to finish at any point, but in a way, I would say that, you know, it's easier to play with little time when you're already losing because there's not really any expectation. So that's why I think that it's so easy for Balaji right now to keep the game going. We are going to check out Bird's Eye View to see how the other game is going because I think that this will be decided. So let's check out game number 3 between Grandmaster Victor Gusik and I am Andre Makovey. Let's see how they are doing.
They're at like 20 seconds each, and they're both making new queens. So it's even, but people can mess up, you know, only 20 seconds, lots of room for error. White decides not to queen. What? And now there's a skew. Wait, black decided also not to queen.
Why are they not queening?
I don't know.
Why are they not
Take the
queening?
rook, but now, okay, white, they decided to queen later, but now...
But now
okay.
there's an exchange more for black, which, yes, there's going to be a lot of checks, but it's still an exchange up. That is still a big material imbalance here that we're seeing.
Oh my goodness. There was the pawn to e5 was a discovery, king moves, and now queen g2. I mean, queen g2's coming.
Queen g2 is coming. This is actually very scary to play with little time. I was going to say that, you know, the rook is so much better, but in some certain situations, that bishop can even be stronger than the queen. So you have to be very careful here as black, I think. Wow.
He didn't play queen g2 because just king
not.
h4. So, oh, and there's a huge skewer.
Oh, the queen! The queen!
Botez
The game
gambit.
is over. There we go. Andrew McAvey. Yeah, wins the game over there for Dallas. Absolutely amazing. Wow, what a finish.
He missed queen f8, huge skewer, winning the game. And Andre, he's putting Dallas up. Still, he holds the lead. Dallas still ahead by 1. So 4.5 to 3.5 right now after these last games just finished. So we did have results on that 4th game. But man, this is such a close match after the first half. Tell us what happened in that round, Anna.
I don't even know. I mean, Andre McAvey, you know, the last 2 rounds, he went from being pretty lost to drawing in round number 1. Now he just, you know, got this queen. So I think he's, yeah, I wouldn't say luck is on his side because obviously it's good chess, but, you know, it's definitely performing very well as the team captain. But yeah, Dallas is able to keep that extra point now into round number 2. It is still pretty close though. So round 3 and 4 could lead to, you know, UTRGV being able to take the lead. But for now, Dallas is the leading team. Now, we are going to be going on a break very soon. But before that, if you've ever wanted to be on the big screen, like the top level chess players you're watching in the CCL, Chess.com has just launched the official community Twitch channel, Chess.com Community, where we stream community tournaments and bring you exciting commentary, host Q&As, review your games, and more. Use !ChessFam in chat and come hang out with us. Now, also, if you are a subscriber, we've got an awesome way for you to reassess your chess. Stay tuned during this break.
Mate is in 4 moves from the position in front of you. Don't move until you figure it out in your head. Don't look at me for a hint.
I can't do it without moving the pieces.
Yes, you can. Clear the lines of men in your head, one at a time, and the king will be left standing alone, like a guy on a street corner. I'll make it easier for you.
What was that about?
I thought it would help.
How does that help?
You know, visualization and stuff.
I'm not picking up the pieces.
Sometimes you don't need to do anything crazy to get better. You just need to reassess your chess. I'm Grandmaster Maurice Ashley, and I'm presenting Jeremy Silman's How to Reassess Your Chess now on Chessable. So go to chessable.com/yourchess and start reassessing your chess today.
Interested in becoming a chess streamer like your favorite creators, such as Hikaru, Gotham Chess, and the Botez sisters?
Come on! Look at this! Woo!
The Chess.com community streamer program is growing every day. Whether you're just getting started with streaming or already established and looking to expand your audience, you can now connect your account to Chess.com and have your stream promoted on the game's largest platform. Simply link your account at chess.com/settings/connected accounts, set your category to chess on Twitch, and start streaming. You'll get an ad-free experience on chess.com. You will pop up on our list of live streamers. Your chess.com profile will feature your Twitch stream, and your stream will be linked to your games on our Play server. Type Command Community Streamer in chat and start growing your stream today.
I'd classify trading as a game really that you're playing with competitors and basically every market participant in the world. My path, I came in as a poker player, but I think that the main thing that everybody has in common is a sense of competitiveness and interest in gaming and strategy in general. Yes, you can actually use gaming skills for your career and for something to do on a day-to-day basis.
Welcome back to week 1 of the 2024 Collegiate Chess League spring season. Right now, you are watching UT Dallas versus UTRGV. Be sure to stick around, but coming up, we're going to be having the 6-time President Cup winners, National Technical University of Athens, taking on 6-time President's Cup winner, Webster University. So we're going to be seeing one of those international teams, and that's going to be very exciting too. But Joe, we are here with round number 3. I am so excited to see who ends up winning this match.
Me too. I mean, the first 2 rounds, absolute nail biters. We saw dirty flags, we saw checkmates, we saw tactics, blunders, we saw brilliancies, we saw Botez gambits. I mean, we've seen it all, and it's only been 2 rounds, Anna. We still have half the match to go.
We literally do. We've seen everything that we could possibly ask to see in a blitz match like this. So exciting, and I'm hoping to see even more exciting things happening now in round number 3. I feel like almost every game has had something, you know, and that is what the short time control brings to you. It's that's what happens when you just have a few minutes on the clock.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of these players playing super fast and maybe not playing the most accurate, but putting the pressure on their opponents. And we've basically seen it all, except for the match win, which we're about to see after the next 2 rounds. So reminder, Dallas is up 4.5 to 3.5 against their in-state rivals. and you need to get 8.5 points. There's 8 games remaining, so all they need to do is split those games evenly. If they go 50-50, then they're going to hold on to that lead and win the match. So do you think UTRGV can maybe mount a comeback here in the second half?
I definitely think they can mount a comeback, but you know, it's definitely the pressure is on them. Let's go ahead and check out now. The round has started. Let's maybe check out game number 1 to see what is happening between Gleb Dudin and Ivan Shitko, two grandmasters that are both very strong. This feels like it's going to be a very close game. They've both been performing very well. Let's see what happens here. So the last move that we saw was e4, and this is still looking pretty theoretical so far.
Yeah, both sides just castled. We see the light square bishops are being cut out for both sides. E4, as you mentioned, now E5, hitting the knight. Knight goes back to D7, putting some pressure on E5. And White decides to play H4 instead of D4. Do you have any knowledge on this opening from White?
I know some of the ideas, at least, for instance, when we were seeing e4 before, some people might wonder, why could black not just take that pawn? But the idea is that the bishop on b7 was unprotected, so it'd be very dangerous to capture that pawn on e4 with this fianchetto, or this diagonal between g2 and b7. But now we're seeing what we've seen in a lot of games, Joe, and that is that one side is attacking on the king, the other side is attacking on the queen side. So I think these lead to some of the most exciting games because it kind of becomes like a race. Who's going to be the fastest out of the two? The fastest one will pretty much win. And we're seeing now h5, h6. The pawn is just pushing on the h file.
Yeah, black had an opportunity to stop that h-pawn in its tracks with h6, but instead decides to bring the queen back, and now white takes advantage of that. Pawn on h6. This is definitely a thorn in black's side. Kind of annoying. Black's gonna have to deal with this, and like, I don't know, do you bring the bishop back? Like, white clearly has a space advantage and is going to enjoy that for probably a large part, if not the entire game.
Another also thing becomes that if you go bishop f8, then sometimes, I mean, there's going to be for white knight g4, knight f6 if that knight on d7 moves. So you're kind of stuck with that knight staying on d7, and I just think that this becomes a much easier position to play as white. The knight on d4, it may look good, but you can always kick it away with c3, so it's not really that impressive of a piece either. And black's queenside advantage, yes, they've pushed all pawns, but there's no weaknesses in white's position because of the fact that they haven't really moved up any pawn yet.
Yeah, and we see that knight g4 idea coming to fruition. It's been played right now, and so lots of dark squares under white's control. We see that knight trade off. Computer actually wanted white to initiate that trade and maybe double black's pawns in the center, but maybe white didn't want to allow this pawn to clamp down and open up for this rook on the c file.
Yeah, I think that was the idea. And I suppose then white also now had the idea of going c4, as we can see that being played on the board. And the idea with that is just simply that if black takes twice, then those pawns are going to be doubled. So black's pawn structure will completely be destroyed. So I don't think you want to take there twice. Instead, we're seeing knight b6. But now maybe white can take advantage of the knight moving and those dark squares becoming a little bit weaker, as now the bishop needs to stay on e7. Bishop f8 is not possible. So there's definitely a lot of counter ideas here for both players.
Yeah, knight b6 giving up some of the dark square control near the king, but as you mentioned, attacking on both sides. So black's trying to put some counterplay onto white, their idea of playing c4. So now there's some tension. Does white simply defend the pawn, or are we going to initiate this trade and leave black with these nice pawns? So it looks like white is taking, black takes back with the knight, and probably we don't want to take this as black's bishop is going to be a beast on the main diagonal, but this knight is a little annoying, right? Putting pressure on our bishop. So, okay, bishop e4, allowing this trade. If you're black, are you taking the bishop?
That is a great question. My initial response is maybe yes. But it also solidifies that pawn on e5 forever. What I am seeing, though, is that h6 pawn could maybe become weaker in endgames with that bishop not being there and that g-pawn never being able to connect to that. So maybe it feels like something you wanted to do. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at some other games, too. Let's maybe check out game number 2. I'm seeing right now, well, before it looked like there was some bigger advantage, but the evil bar is kind of jumping up and down on that game between Viktor Gosik and Rahul. We saw Rahul just now play that brilliant move in the game before. Bishop takes f6, and he's back now. And like always, playing very fast. I feel like this is just that Rahul thing. He plays very quickly. He's always up on time, Joe.
It's a great strategy in blitz, and well, it's risky too, because if you play quickly, you might make some mistakes. Viktor Gosik, he's playing pretty well. He's got the white pieces, and honestly, the time difference isn't too great as we've seen in earlier games. So I'm feeling pretty good for Viktor here. But yeah, I mean, this is two 2800s, two grandmasters going at it, and Black's got these double rooks on the d file. White could maybe break through on the 7th rake with rook takes h7. But
yeah, it's just a free pawn, right? Rook takes h7. It's just a pawn, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a fan of taking pawns. Sometimes it leads me astray, but here it looks like all good things for white. Not only taking a free pawn, but also doubling up on f7. But probably Viktor's a little bit worried about maybe the rook's coming down.
Yeah, capturing on d3. So I guess that is the counterattack. Rook takes h7. What happens if you take on d3? But I'm wondering if you can pick up f7, but maybe that is a little bit greedy by my side. I was thinking rook d1, you can just simply sacrifice the queen or give up the queen for 2 rooks, which should be good. So I'm not sure if you can do that. But it does look good to take on h7. So what has been played? Rook h3 was played. He didn't want to give up that pawn on d3. And now queen g2. So a little bit of a different plan.
Yeah, this is maybe like one player calling out the other player, or maybe Raul is bluffing, right? His speed, not defending the h pawn, making white question if that pawn's even hanging, right? Like maybe they calculated better than me. Maybe a little bit of uncertainty here from one of the sides. So yeah, we see maybe queen trade declined, definitely. King to b1, just kind of a slow move. Maybe trying to build up a little bit more time before going for some sort of breakthrough. I'm wondering if this knight is ever going to move into the center on d4 with tempo on the queen.
I think the problem is that the more that Black changes pieces, just the more weak the pawns are going to be. So if you trade queens as Black, you're just completely lost in a sense because of the fact that your pawns are just so weak. And I think the same with knight d4, that if you start trading and blocking that d file, then Black's pawns are just going to end up being pretty weak. So now we see it. Okay, now things are happening.
Wow, and we do see, yeah, both rooks now on the 7th. So Raul, as we mentioned before, plays quickly, but maybe a little too quickly now. Those rooks are looking like absolute beasts on the 7th rank. And I love how white included this king b1 idea. You mentioned some rook coming down, but now a2 is an option. So
yeah.
Is there queen g2 ideas? Did we try this earlier? I feel like this is just completely crushing for white.
I think the scary part with queen g2 might be rook d1 and then the c4 pawn hanging for white. So that is also weakness that needs to be maybe accounted for if king a2, queen takes c4 check.
But there's king c2 when we play queen g2, and then we're completely safe.
There is. So maybe you're right, actually. Maybe after queen g2, it's just after, yeah. Maybe it's just crushing, actually. What do you do after queen g2?
Well, he's got to play it and find it soon because he's got less than 30 seconds now.
His time is ticking. I think he's analyzing, though. It seems like he's analyzing, and he's does it. Queen g2 is on the board. The most critical move, which is scary to do. But yeah, now if rook d1, you just go king c2, and there's no time to go queen takes c4, as there would be rook b7 check.
Rook b7, or I was even thinking, could we just take? I'm not sure if we could take the knight right away, because now
I think there's rook d2 checkmate then. Rook d.
The second rook comes in. That's mate in 1. We could see a potential mate blunder. But I'm not expecting queen c4 though. That seems crazy.
It does. It does seem crazy. So probably something like rook d1 check, king c2, queen c8 maybe will be played just so that the queen comes into the defense instead of the offense. But there is that obviously blunder that black could do with the checkmating one, but I don't think black is going to do that with a rating of 2860. Sorry, white is going to do that.
Anna, you're new to the Collegiate Chess League commentary. We've seen some mate in ones blundered for sure. Yeah, actually, from one of the players in this match, Andre McAvey blundered a mate in one against a non-titled player, so it happens.
It does. It does. It's easy to think that these 2800 grandmasters are just almost like robots, that they're just always finding the best move, but everyone is a human being at the end of the day, and that's the fascinating part about chess, in my opinion, that you get to see blunders even at top level chess. And amongst, the best of the best grandmasters. So it is a really fun part of it. He's taking a big think now, Rahul, for the first time in long, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know if white necessarily has like a knockout. Like black can definitely defend the knight. But maybe the long-term plan is that white's just simply going to push their past G. Oh my God, we see a knight sacrifice. This is what he's been calculating this whole time.
He wants to, maybe this is practically the best option, just to put the pressure. Bishop c3.
Now there's mate in one threatened. If the queen moves, black has that mate that you mentioned, but also if the queen moves, maybe there's a checkmate. I mean, okay, queen check. There's another check. I mean, white's gonna have to find shelter somewhere. You go here, check, and then b3.
b3,
is that crazy?
I think you have to. It's the only legal move after queen c4 check. So
that's forced.
It's forced. There's not much to think about. You do it and you get checkmated, or you don't.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, wow.
Bishop takes. There's bishop block.
Wow!
Leaving the queen hanging. There's gonna be a mate back rank.
This is actually incredible. But, he did what he had to do. Rahul tried to find the trickiest line and try to trick, obviously, his opponent.
Wow, what a line from Viktor Gajic. He defends it, finding this bishop e2, and it only gets one question or exclamation. That's a brilliancy move to me. That's brilliant. Hanging the queen because you've got mate no matter what. Wow, what a finish here from Viktor Gajic.
That was actually such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. So we get their win for UTRGV. Let's go ahead and check out the bird's view and see how the other games are going. I'm seeing one more result on game number 1. It ended up in a draw between Gleb Durin and Ivan Shitko. So let's check out maybe board number 4. We're seeing here that black seems... Oh, black already wins. Okay, I am kidding. We are checking out board number 3. So it really looks like UTRGV is taking the lead now.
Wow, UTRGV, after that break, they decided to wake up. They're like, listen, we got Anna Cramling commentating on our games. We got to bring our A game right now. We're losing by 1. Let's get it together. And now we're seeing it happening. It's unfolding here in round 3. So, I mean, it's all going to come down to round 4. It could be anyone's match.
It literally could be anyone's match. Now, if this becomes a draw, which is what the eval bar is insinuating, although we don't always believe the eval bars, then actually our UTRGV would be leading by 1 point. They're right now leading by 2 points from this match. So they would, in the overall match, be leading by 1 point, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, UTRGV is up by 1. So they've won 2 of the 3 games so far to give them that 1 point lead. And so a draw would be good for them. Obviously, Dallas looking to win. Dallas, I mean, we've got McAvey. He's got the rook versus a knight, but okay, a lot of pawns down. We see the repetition. So now, as it stands, UTRGV up by 1, 6.5 to 5.5. All they need to do is win 2 games in round 4, and they have won the first match of the Collegiate Chess League spring season. It all comes down to these last 4 games, Anna. It's super exciting. I have no idea what's going to happen, but we're going to see the top boards against the top boards. After these first 3 rounds, are there any particular players that you're excited to watch?
I feel like every game that Rahul plays just becomes a beautiful game. I mean, we saw the brilliant game in round number 2. Now we saw his opponent playing, a brilliant idea of sacrificing the queen. So I am excited to see his games, to be honest. Those seem to be some of the most decisive ones. But I just can't wait to see if UTRGV is able to keep the pressure and keep that extra point lead and win the match, or will UTD make a comeback and win? We don't know what's going to happen. Or will it go to tie breaks? Will we see some bullets? I don't know.
Oh my
But no matter what,
goodness.
it's going to be equally excited.
We're gonna find out coming up right now. Round 4 about to begin, and I want to point out Sean Rodriguez Lemieux. He's board 3 for UTRGV, but don't let that fool you. He's their best performer so far. He's 3 out of 3. He's flawless. He's perfect. So we got to keep an eye on his game for sure. That could be definitely a difference maker. I mean, he's already been a difference maker. He's the reason why their team's in it right now. So any game, any board, it's going to be exciting. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm guessing that UTRGV is actually going to hold on to this lead for now. And Dallas, I think their opportunity slipped in that 3rd round.
Is that your prediction, Joe?
I'm going to stick to it. I think UTRGV is going to win, and it's going to be an upset because Dallas, they are the last season's runner-up. So they actually beat UTRGV in the playoffs. And I mean, Dallas, they're going to have to pull out some really important wins here in this final round to overcome that 1-point deficit.
They will definitely have to do that. We can see that the games have started. Let's check out board number 1. We can see several moves already happening over there. What do we have? Okay. So, how many moves do we have? Yeah, there we go. We can see them here. So E3 was the last move that was played, preparing D4, preparing to retake that center. We can see that White has a pretty nice knight already in the center. I think this looks really comfortable for White, to be honest. These are the sort of structures that I feel comfortable with. Joe, I kind of wanted to, go for the opposite and say that I think that University of Dallas can make a comeback. I think so. I feel like they're going to be as excited as ever this final round to make a comeback. And my prediction is actually that we will see a tiebreak, that it's going to end up 8-8 somehow.
You think it's going to go to overtime and Dallas is going to win in overtime?
In overtime, we don't know what's going to happen. But yes, maybe. I at least am predicting overtime. I think they're going to take a 1-point lead in this round.
Wow. Okay. That's huge. I mean, I could definitely see it. I think first match of the season going to overtime would be incredible. Yeah, we see D4 playing. I mean, we're still very early on in this game, but as you mentioned, White definitely feeling very comfortable here. But Viktor Gajic, man, he's like the strongest rated player here. Even though he's got the black pieces, I'm sure that he's definitely very comfortable, especially as we saw in that last game against Raul. He stayed calm and he found the right move in the right moment, even in time pressure. So Viktor, I think he's going to get this one.
I have a question for you, Joe.
What's up?
How do these players have time to become this good at chess when they're going to college?
Well, I think they got good before they went to college.
They're studying all day long, normal subjects, and they are these 2,800 grandmasters. How do they have time for that? It's actually incredible. But yeah, I guess you're right that they just became this good before, but we're still seeing them competing in a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, and also just to honestly answer your question, these are essentially professionals. These are students. At least for the top 5 teams in the CCL, those are scholarship schools. So these students are going there on scholarship. They are attending university to play on these chess teams. So we are seeing college athletes in competition right now. This is the best of the best. It's not like the best. This is the top competition of all college chess, Anna.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And that is why it's so exciting to see them battle against each other. But what was the last one we saw? B4. Look at that queenside space. Wow, just straight up pushing all the pawns, just threatening A5, trapping the bishop. what are you going to do as black? Are you going to go a6? Maybe then there's knight takes b6. I don't know if you want to double up your pawns and leave that d6 pawn as a weakness. Plenty of ideas here that are making Victor Gosick think. And he ends up taking the pawn on d4. What happens if a5 now?
You know, that's a question that I don't know the answer to, and I don't know if Victor Gosick knows the answer to it. So classic, after me trying to show him some support, we're seeing some questionable moves. E takes on d4, a5 played immediately by Ivan. You know, I think your prediction's starting to look a little bit better. But, you know, there's other games too, right? So we could stick to this one and see what Victor's plan is with that bishop, or we could look at some of the other games.
I want to see what he does with that bishop. I think he's shaking his head. It looks like he just blundered the idea. And then right after we figure out what he does with this bishop, we're going to move on to some more games. But I am just so intrigued. Where is that bishop going, Victor? Oh, he's moving his hand. He seems as if, it really seems as if he did a miss here and he's realizing it.
Yeah, I mean, after a move like b4, you've got a lot of issues to figure out. And unfortunately for Victor, he just didn't address them at the time. So definitely a big blunder in a key moment. This is round 4. I mean, you mentioned overtime. There could be another round after this, but in all likeliness, this could be the end of the match.
Yeah, no, it could definitely be the end of the match. So we are, maybe it seems like he's taking his time. Maybe let's go and check out Bird's Eye View to see how the other games are going, and we can come back to this one later. But it does look as if Ivan is maybe even gonna get a win over there. Let's check out game number 2 between Rahul and Gleb Dudin. Let's see what is happening here. It looks also as if it's a position that's looking a bit strange. There is a rook on a2, which always looks a little bit funny because the rooks are not connected. So this seems a little bit strange. It looks like black has quite a nice position, to be honest, with their pieces being pretty strong. But I think b4, the idea is just to open up that a file to make the rook on a2 have a purpose.
Yeah. b4, I like pawn duo for white, kicking the knight. If black takes, yeah, we have that a file. So good things here for white, but honestly, computer doesn't like it so much, and I'm trying to figure out why exactly. The computer wants to simply just take on b4 and then play for knight to d3, which has just been played. So this is looking great for Gleb. Wow, it even gets a double exclam.
It's a brilliant move.
This was not even on my radar. How do you find this move?
By being 2,700. Joe,
would you have played this in a million years, Anna?
No, I would not. And if I did, I would frame this game and put it up in my bedroom as my best game ever. What a beautiful move, knight d3. Now, let's actually try to understand the move. What is the idea? Well, the idea is that if queen takes knight, there's bishop takes b4, which is what we're seeing here. And yeah, there we go. The rook just fell. And yeah, we see that position now happening. Moves are happening very quickly. This is insane.
Oh my gosh, that was such a deep line that he found. The discovery on the queen, taking on e1, and noticing the queen couldn't even take back because of rook d1 pin.
Incredible, absolutely incredible line the black found here. And this is going to be a win most probably for UTRGV. So they still can keep that extra point. Wow, beautiful game. Let's check out Bird's Eye View. Let's see how the other games are going as well to see how this match is going to end up. Maybe we can look at game number 3. We can see that it looks as if Andrew McAvey has a slight advantage over there for UT Dallas, which would be huge. UT Dallas needs all the points that they can get right now if they want to bring this to tiebreakers. So let's see if Andrew McAvey can bring this home somehow. How is this position looking? Those bishops are looking fantastic in the center of the board, to be honest. And once again, that rook on g3 is looking slightly awkward.
Yeah, that rook's going to have to find a new home. Or not, because white's saying, you know what, take the rook. I'm going to attack your queen, but black could just give up one of those bishops. So an exchange sacrifice from Oh wait, hold on. That actually opens up the pin. So, these players have it all figured out, Anna. I'm just along for the ride.
We are both just along for the ride, but it is a beautiful ride, to be honest. And we're seeing some beautiful chess. But yes, that bishop is pinned. So bishop takes rook is not possible. We can see now the queen moving, and now taking that rook is a threat. Where will the rook go? You can't go rook e3, or can you? Is there bishop f4? I guess maybe it's not as good as I thought at first. It would be bishop f4, but you do have to look at all those kind of lines, I suppose.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little complicated. But I mentioned Sean here is 3 out of 3 so far in the first 3 rounds, and Andre Makove, he's team captain for Dallas. So this is actually a super critical game, and they're both at a minute and a half. We see rook e3, like you said. Are we going to see bishop f4, or is Andre going to find a different move here?
Bishop f4 is on the board. I am so happy. I get so happy when players play moves that I say. It is honestly the dream as a commentator when the players make the moves that you mentioned. And now there could be a lot of trades that would happen, and it feels like after all of these trades, we're going to get a queen and knight versus queen and bishop endgame. I do slightly prefer black's position, though. That pawn is pretty weak. Knights and queens typically harmonize a little bit better, although bishop on that d3 diagonal could also become pretty strong.
I'm the opposite, Anna. When players start playing my moves, I know they're about to blunder, so I get a little nervous when that happens.
Don't say that, Joe. Don't bring yourself down like that. No.
I'm just being honest.
You should see it. You should see the glass half full, not half empty, okay?
Yeah,
let's check out some other games maybe as well.
Definitely. We haven't seen all of them yet, but I also think those first 2 boards we looked at, maybe we're going to see results soon.
I think we're going to see some results soon. Let's maybe check out bird's eye view, and then after that, check out perhaps the final game we haven't seen, which is board number 4, which is going to be, it's looking as if black has a bit of an advantage there, which once again would be huge for UT Dallas. Dallas needs all the points. Will Balaji be able to win that game? We can see that he's a grandmaster. He's playing against an international master. But right when I say it, the caster curse comes back and the evil bar just goes to white side. What have I done, Joe?
I told you. I mean, it happened like literally first season or first match of the season. We see commentator curses happening multiple times in the same match. So it's really hard to predict the moves. And like that eval bar, honestly, it doesn't mean much because at any moment someone could blunder. And right now, like white's threatening mate in 1. The computer doesn't like it. Bishop f7 blocks. And I mean, I don't know what the follow. You could take a pawn. Maybe that's too greedy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the question becomes what happens if queen... oh no, sorry, I was saying it the wrong way. Bishop d8 is being played. I was saying queen h6 with the bishop on f6, but it's the wrong color. It's not obviously a black bishop on f6. So bishop d8 is the move that's been played. It makes sense to try to trade that really strong white bishop on f6. It makes all the sense to trade it, even though the engine thinks that it is a mistake. We are seeing now those bishops getting traded, and the question becomes, is that c5 pawn just going to fall for black? I think it is.
Well, white's going for the queen trade, so they actually like that pawn endgame. So yeah, in time pressure, looks like black just trades off. We see that pawn traded, and now it's maybe white that has the weak pawn on b4 that needs some tending to. Rook b1 played. But
yeah,
I think
I'm very surprised about this.
We got to take, there's a couple results. So it looks like Ivan won on board 1. Not a surprise there, as Viktor Gajic blundered the bishop early. And we see another result, Gleb Duden winning for UTRGV. So we only have the 2 final games remaining, right? The teams have split that. UTRGV still holding on by 1 point. So what does that mean? Dallas needs to win both games?
To win? Yeah. Or to go to tie breaks? Yeah, they do. Dallas needs to win both games, and that is just something that does not, at this moment in time, look so possible. looks as if both games are going to end up in a draw, and then you're going to be right, Joe. Then that's literally going to be UTRGV are going to be able to keep that extra point that they have, just like you said before.
But it's not over yet, because we could see anything happen. We could see blunders from either side. So
always
RGV just needs a draw to secure. Oh my God, I want to look at that McAvey game versus Lemieux. Oh my God, both games are freaking out right now.
Finished in a draw. Finished in a draw. Andrew McAvey finished in a draw. It means.
But now White's winning on this one.
Oh wait, now White's. But then then UTRGV would win anyways.
Oh
wow.
my goodness.
Now Black just blundered a pawn. It's just a pawn down. It looks as if it's impossible now for UT Dallas to make a comeback, because they're just a pawn down in the final game that they need to win.
Wow, Rook A7 check, and now F6. They're both racing pawns, but White just has that extra pawn. This is definitely a winning position for White.
But you need to keep playing. You have to play all the way until the end. When it's the final game like this, you just have to keep going.
They did the exact opposite of what you just said. He resigned immediately.
Oh yeah, they did. I just realized.
Oh man, that cost his team. Like, he could have played on to try to draw or flag or something, but no. I mean, UTRGV, they're gonna close this one out. They get the win 9-7. So wow, what a comeback. Dallas was leading at halftime, but UTRGV comes back in the second half and gets the win.
Absolutely amazing, especially considering that Dallas actually beat UTRGV in last season's round robin. So this is literally redemption for UTRGV getting the win in this match today.
Yeah, new year, new season, new teams, and UTRGV, they're saying we got the win over Dallas, and they're gonna be really happy moving on for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. It was some crazy games, though. I thought at some point that UT Dallas could make that comeback, but UTRGV just proved to be too strong today. But we will be seeing the journey that they take in future matches. Now, the official Chess.com merch store is back and better than ever. We've got you covered with the perfect gift for the chess lovers in your life. Check out our fresh new designs for t-shirts, socks, hats, and more at chess.com.shop, or use !merch in chat to shop now. Get your plushie mittens. It's what everyone wants. The merch store is open and it's stocked to the gills. Go to chess.com.shop or use !merch in the chat to shop now. Joe, do you have any chess.com swag?
I have a lot of chess.com swag. I actually just got recently a new Collegiate Chess League hoodie, which has our updated logo on it. So I actually opened this. If you guys didn't know, the Collegiate Chess League has its own college chess podcast that we do on the CCL channel. And I opened it live actually yesterday. So definitely give that a follow if you want. But yeah, Anna, first match was absolutely a thriller. It was back and forth, down to the wire. And we have another match coming up after this.
Very exciting match as well. We're going to be seeing Webster University, which is the 6-time President's Cup champions, coming up, playing the University of Athens. So it's going to be really exciting. We're going to go on a short break, and then we will be right back.
Hello, Vanakkam.
Vanakkam. So this is where the magic happens, and this is where all the magic has already happened.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. That's my World Junior.
87.
87. It's difficult to tell you how many doors that opened for me and what historical moment it was, and when I got back. The Chess Oscars, very nice. These 5 of them.
5 of them.
The Wanderers.
5, and there's one on top that is the 6th one. So since he had already got 5, they didn't want to give him the same trophy. So they gave him a trophy of a king with the world in his hand. Yeah. This is Anand's first ever mention in a newspaper.
Oh.
So this is his first ever he was mentioned.
V. Anand achieved a national record by winning all the 9 rounds to notch a maximum of 9 points in the sub-junior championship.
But imagine now T.S. Ravi's daughter Rakshita is part of the Webster Anand Chess Academy. I mean, it's so beautiful to see how life comes around.
So World Rapid Chess and Mind Champion. So this was NIT gave me this nice trophy.
Why do I get the feeling that Aruna knows all the trophies and why you won better than you remember it, Anand?
Because I cleaned and read.
Because it's true.
Whatever, did you have a favorite? Thank you so much, Anand. I feel this is extra motivation for all the youngsters, this opportunity to actually come here and witness these achievements and spend time with you in this stunning room. Anand, Aruna, thank you so much for this.
Can you beat Magnus Carlsen? Okay, yeah, probably not. But what if we give him a few distractions? Can you beat Magnus while he's cooking? What if he's playing football? How about Magnus skiing? Surely you can beat him sleeping. Now there's a Magnus for everyone. This month on Chess.com.
Classified trading is a game really that you're playing with competitors and basically every market participant in the world. My path, I came in as a poker player, but I think that the main thing that everybody has in common is a sense of competitiveness and interest in gaming and strategy in general. Yes, you can actually use gaming skills for your career and for something to do on a day-to-day basis.
Welcome back to week 1 of the CCL spring season presented by SIG. Now, what is SIG, you may ask? Well, in this week's Career Opportunities for Chess Enthusiasts segment, Chess.com's Casa Corley caught up with Grandmaster Andrew Tang to learn more.
Hey folks, Casa Corley here, head of community at Chess.com, and I'm joined today by Andrew Tang, Grandmaster Andrew Tang, who's also a newly minted trader at SIG. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role at SIG? What are you up to? What does your day job entail?
Yeah, so SIG is a proprietary trading company, so they trade their own money, and I've been working for a bit over a month now, so I'm a new quantitative trader. Also, SIG in particular is known for its gaming culture, and yeah, I think it's really cool that they support people who like to play like chess, poker. They teach poker in the internship, and when you're a new quantitative trader, so all of that I think is really cool.
Why should more chess players be interested in trading at SIG?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're a chess player, probably, you like to compete and you like to win at mental games. I think trading is just very similar, and you're just really competing against other people in the market and trying to outsmart them. And I think succeeding in that is a lot of fun, but also it's a great job opportunity. So basically you can do what you like and have a great job at the same time.
What advice would you give other chess players that might be looking to get a job at SIG?
Yeah, so, well, there's just applying. You can just apply, but for, people who are, still freshmen and sophomore in colleges, SIG also has discovery days where you can get kind of an introduction to SIG.
Well, Andrew, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it. And shout out to your employer, SIG, for supporting the CCL, the Collegiate Chess League. Any final thoughts you have for the fans of the league?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. It was really nice to have events to play like the CCL when I was in college to help keep me fresh and not get too rusty. So just like to thank everyone for supporting and making this event possible.
Any good chess tactics book has one pattern in it that feels like it is on a completely different level than all of the other tactical patterns. Bearing the vivid and accurate moniker, the windmill, this pattern features an amazing sequence of repeated discovered checks that can be used to win a nearly unlimited amount of material. The most famous windmill is definitely the one played by Mexican prodigy Carlos Torre against former world champion Emmanuel Lasker. But Bobby Fischer's game of the century also features a windmill. Here's another one that I really like. White starts with a rook sacrifice that leads to a combination of bishop and rook checks that simply consume Black's forces. The Lafong is a dirty, dirty trick that will probably only work at bullet, but you have to pull it off at least once in your life. When you sense that your opponent is pre-moving g6 and bishop g7 to start the game, you can play d4 and bishop h6 to try to win the bishop on g7.
Shakes, guys. No one is watching. Oh, they all missed that. I see the tilt. I can feel the tilt.
It is a high risk and high reward strategy because you are hanging your own bishop if you don't catch them in a pre-move. But it is certainly hilarious when you do pull it off.
Like one of my friends, Asios, he made a bot. The repertoire was partly based on hyperbullet games, so then you could see a lot of the Lafongs and Queen C2 takes H7 and so on.
Yeah.
So.
Welcome, everyone. We are here with Judith Polgar, the legendary chess player, one of the greatest chess players of all time.
And I went my next move. I said, no, I'm not moving my queen. I'm not moving my bishop. But actually, I'm going to give checkmate or winning great material. And I went knight e3. It works only that way. If you're an attacker, you sacrifice something, go all the way until the end. Don't chicken out in the meantime. at some point, because many times there is a point there is no way back. It's only forward. How is it to play with Kasparov? When you saw him personally, he really had this incredible energy.
Judith, thank you so much for being with us, and I hope you're ready to dive into the past with us.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very happy to share with you some of my most memorable games.
I'd classify trading as a game really that you're playing with competitors and basically every market participant in the world. My path, I came in as a poker player, but I think that the main thing that everybody has in common is a sense of competitiveness and interest in gaming and strategy in general. Yes, you can actually use gaming skills for your career and for something to do on a day-to-day basis.
Welcome back to week 1 of the CCL spring season presented by SIG. The first match that we saw today was absolutely spectacular, but we're only a few moments away from our second match, which features 2 CCL debuts. I'm very excited about this. We're going to be having Webster University taking on the National Technical University of Athens. So Joe, let's start with Webster. What can you tell us about them?
Webster is probably one of the most tenured historic college chess teams in the world because they are the 6-time President Cup winner since 2013, which is quite the impressive track record. And I've been trying to get Webster to join the CCL since the inaugural season back in 2020. So to say I'm excited for them to join for the very first time is definitely an understatement.
That is amazing to hear, and you finally got them to join.
Well, it was definitely a large part thanks to their team and their captain and their coach. So shout out to them for finally joining. And not only are they joining for the first time, but University of Athens is also joining for the first time. We're going to watch both of them in their debut right now. So yeah, maybe you wanted to talk a little bit about these accomplishments from the schools, Anna.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm very, very, very excited to see the University of Athens making a debut over here. Obviously, seeing some European teams is very exciting. We can also see that it's not just the University of Athens that's making a debut this season of the international teams, but it's also the Prague University of Economics and Business. And while they have 2 Czech Republic junior champions on roster, they have 2 players with GM norms, so very, very, very strong team. And in the National Technical University of Athens, we have the Kasparov Chess Foundation University Cup participants. They're the first place in Europe, 5th in the world. That is huge, Joe. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and the Kasparov Chess Foundation University Cup is actually happening on February 3rd, fun fact. And CCL actually has a bye week that week for that particular reason. So these teams can compete in both events without having any conflicts. That's why we set it up like that. So I'm assuming they would play again this year. And if so, good luck to them. And if you're a university school out there in chess, definitely keep an eye out for that and see if you would like to join.
Absolutely. And we're going to now be seeing Webster University playing as the National Technical University of Athens. Are you biased, Joe, because you said that you were so excited about the Webster University showing up this year? Would you say that you're a little bit biased?
I definitely have some biases, Anna. I'm not afraid to hide that. I'm going to say that Webster's going to destroy this team. I'm going to say Webster is, honestly, they might be the favorite. Not only in this match, but in the entire league, based off of just the history of their accomplishments. But I do want to say, SLU, they are the #1 seed. They're the highest rated. They are the back-to-back defending champs. This is definitely an online tournament. This is not classical, which is where Webster has all of their accomplishments that we just listed. But I'm biased for more reasons than that, Anna. Webster's from St. Louis, which is where I'm from, and Webster's the North American team, whereas Athens is the European team. So I would assume maybe you also have some biases.
I think that Athens needs a little bit of support after hearing all of these words, Joe. So if I have to be the one that brings that support, then so shall be it. We can see that the games have started. So let's go ahead and check out what is happening in this round number 1. Let's check out the first board between CM David Churbinsky and Grandmaster Andreas Kellyres. Once again, I am very sorry if I'm pronouncing these names wrong, but the Grandmaster is from the Athens team, so there's definitely very strong players playing there too. That does need to be said. And in this board number 1, he's definitely the favorite, the Grandmaster.
Oh, of course. I agree with you on that much. But I do want to also point out this is round 1 of 4. So round 1 is where you're going to see the biggest mismatches. This is board 1 versus board 4. So top player from Athens, Andreas, taking on the board 4 from Webster, who actually is their team captain, David Jurbinsky, who some of you actually might know on Twitch as CM underscore Rui, who was actually on our podcast episode yesterday. So he was explaining some of the things that he had to do to get the team registered and how excited they are to compete for the first time. So really cool to see him. He was on their B team at Pan Am's earlier this month, and just really appreciative of him and his work as captain. So board 4, he's got his work cut out for him here against the Grandmaster, but I have a lot of faith in him and to see him do well today.
Well, if he would do well in this game, it would be a huge surprise, and that would be huge for Webster, obviously. And we're seeing just right at the start of the game, not a lot of action yet. You can see that White has that center, but Black has Bishop on B7, has some pieces kind of attacking that center, and is kind of waiting to see when they are going to be the ones that are going to try to grab a little bit of that center. So far, wow, okay, E5, we're seeing quite of an aggressive move, it looks like.
Yeah, he's just pushing on in the center, maybe not allowing Black to play for E5, but this does open up for Black's bishop. It allows for some trades. So we're seeing the question mark there. What do you think is necessarily wrong with this move, or do you think it's just the computer overreacting and it's actually fine?
I think that a lot of times when you over push, it's very easy for that pawn to become a weakness more than a strength. And here we can see that after the trades, after Black taking that pawn and White capturing back, that E5 pawn is going to become quite weak after something like maybe knight G4. But now, actually, Andreas decided to play something else. He went knight D5. I don't know if he was scared of White being able to push that pawn to E6 somehow. If that was the reason for it, I'm still wondering, what happens now. Can E6 be pushed? Is that a crazy move that you don't want to do? Maybe it is. But that is one of the moves that are coming to mind. Apart from that, now that the E5 pawn is defended, so you could just go something like knight C2 just to keep everything defended. But he does go E6, and knight G5 is played. Look at this.
Wow, so the CM is taking it to the GM right now, pushing in the center, and computer says it's still even, but I love how David is playing this, and I love how this is also like the debut for both these teams. We don't have like a veteran returning here that's like used to this is the first time they're playing in the CCL and the first time they're playing on broadcast here. So a lot of nerves in this first round. This could go actually in David's favor. I don't know. Would you be nervous in this position? I mean, obviously, Grandmaster saying they're nervous, maybe not true, but I like this position for White.
No, for sure. I do like that he's not scared. He's applying the pressure, and he's showing that he's here. He's here to try to win. Doesn't matter if he's playing a Grandmaster. He's gonna play his best chess. Let's check out the bird's eye view to see some of the other games as well, and jump around maybe to board number 2. We can see that we have Grandmaster Grigoriy Cantor playing against Konstantinos Tsaritalides. Very long name, but this looks like it's a game between a Grandmaster and an untitled player. Is that true, Joe?
I think that's definitely a possibility. I think this Athens team actually had to bring up a sub from their B team to play today to have their
Okay.
full roster of 4. So that very likely could be them. But yeah, Grigoriy Cantor, one of the GMs for Webster, he's board 3. So a very talented player, obviously. And Konstantinos has a lot of work ahead of them, but I'm proud of you for even attempting the name. I definitely would have butchered it myself, so I'm glad we have someone like you on the broadcast to take care of some of these international last names.
I am doing my very best, Joe. I am very much trying. It is obviously not always easy. A lot of people butcher my name quite a lot too, so I'm pretty used to people not knowing how to say my name. But let's see what is happening here. The knight has retreated to b8, so he's trying to reroute that, I think, to d7, c5, get that super strong knight over there. That will be, well, forking the queen and the bishop, but that also just, it's going to be pretty hard to eliminate it unless you go b4 maybe later on in the game. But I quite like that plan. And I think it would be huge. Imagine if Konstantinos was able to, draw or win this game. That would be huge against the Grandmaster.
Yeah, I mean, this Athens team, I think they're really excited to play, especially against a high caliber team like Webster right out of the gate. So if Webster is, like I'm saying, one of the favorites, and if Athens could have some sort of upset, a draw, well, not in the match, but get some win, even if it's like a close match and they still lose, like that's a great first experience to get out of the way, and moving forward, like they can only move up. So and this match has literally just started. Like I don't even know if Webster's gonna to win. I'm just playing off of my biases for now, but okay, we see some trades.
You are playing off of your biases, Joe, because I am seeing here a great position for Konstantinos, which is actually amazing. I mean, look at that rook, look at that knight on c5, both pressuring that a4 pawn. I don't know what's going to happen here. It definitely feels like it's black the one that's playing for the win at this point.
Yeah, a lot of aggression on the a file, but in the meantime, white gonna get a really strong knight on c6, and maybe this b pawn falls and we see some trades. But I'm also a little worried about the pawn on e4. I feel like that's a pretty big pawn to give up if you were to lose that. It's attacked twice right now, defended only once, although I'm sure there's a lot of tactics in this position and the time is running down. So we're going to see some moves coming in shortly.
We are, but I do think that your move that you mentioned, knight c6, does look very strong because it's double purpose move. You're both threatening the queen, but you're also defending that e4 pawn with the queen now as you're opening up that file. So after knight c6, maybe the queen has to go to a8 to keep the pressure on that a4 pawn. But just like you mentioned, Joe, if that a4 pawn is captured, there could be situations where the b6 pawn can be captured too. So it's very much a double-edged position that I think is going to be tough for both players to play. Obviously, probably Grigoriy has a bit more experience, but it would be really, really fascinating to see Athens coming in here for the first time and, one of the untitled players beating a GM on round number 1. That would be something quite fascinating, I think.
For sure. And we actually have a result on Webster's top board, Grandmaster Aram Hakobian taking down FIDE Master from Athens. So some results are happening on the other boards. That's actually impressive. It ended first, but it started last.
Wow. That must have been pretty relatively quick, at least then.
Yeah, maybe we take a look at the bird's eye view to get a bigger picture of the match.
Let's do it. Yes. So we can see there Webster getting that first point. Let's maybe check out the game we haven't seen yet, which is game number 3 between Vasilios Kassiomis and Grandmaster Harsha Baratakoti.
You're doing great with these names.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, Harsha, he's from Webster. This is, as you mentioned, the board 3. So yeah, I mean, Athens, they got some titled players too. They're not grandmasters, but it's just online blitz. Like seriously, anything can happen. And white actually is showing the favorable position and both players in a time scramble. And I think time scrambles are gonna go in Athens' favor because anything could happen there. So if you're up against a tougher opponent, you want to try to make it as complicated, draw it out as long as possible, because at that point, that's where you're going to start seeing mistakes. You're going to see the mouse slips, blunders, flags, you name it. So really good chance here for Vasilios.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And this is also, we can see he's an FM, he's up against the Grandmaster, but I think they're doing great, the team of Athens so far, even if they've lost one game. I mean, like you said, Webster is probably rating-wise, it is the favorite, obviously, rating-wise. So I think that the team of Athens is doing a fantastic job so far, which is really fun to see. And this game, I think it's going to be so interesting very soon, even if it says that it's, almost equal. Now it says that white has a bit of an edge. I'm seeing the race again, white pawns just pushing up on the king side, black having that open A file, trying to somehow get an attack towards white's king. It's going to be just a matter of time. Who is the fastest? And I think those games are always the most fun. So I think we're going to see that very soon.
Oh, man. And look, they're both under a minute here. You mentioned earlier, you love it when there's opposite side attacking. This is an opposite side castles game, which is just a recipe for fireworks. We see F4 hitting the knight. The knight's going to have to retreat. And then we're going to see F5 maybe G6, H6, something at some point. And there you have it. G6, just trying to break through black's king. And this is just very exciting. Although after the trade, we see H6 keeping things locked down for the time being. How does white break through?
First initial thought is just F5, F6. Can you do it? I'm not sure, but that is the first thing that's coming to mind. Now, especially F5, F6 looks very possible. I'm not sure if that is what's going to happen, but we can also see that queen and the bishop on that diagonal just looks so strong. He's going rook H6 with the idea maybe of sacrificing on rook H2 with the idea of sacrificing maybe on H6 at some point. But black is trying to trade queens. Obviously, black trades queens. Now the attack is kind of gone for white.
Yeah, that queen trade definitely helping out Harsha here. And now it's like white has to work all over again just to get some momentum going. So I think this trade is definitely favorable for Harsha, but still, okay, we see some pawns being traded. We see the rook is hit. Both players less than 20 seconds. This is an absolute time scramble.
This is exactly the kind of moment where you can just go blunder at any point. Like, we don't know when there's going to be a blunder, but there could be a blunder at any point. By the way, we also see that on board number 1, Athens got a point as Grandmaster Andreas Kelleres won that game. So it's 1-1 right now, tied.
Yeah, Athens fighting back, getting a point on their top board. So Webster's captain, David, goes down in round 1. Not too much of a surprise there. But yeah, this endgame, 2 pawns on both sides. White going for a rook trade. This could be another one of those moments where maybe white is just faster and pushing that pawn.
And white is a pawn up. So being a pawn up, obviously, just gives a lot of, I think, well, it wasn't
I don't see the pawn. I don't see the pawn.
The pawn is gone. The pawn is gone, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say that gives some confidence, obviously, but that is not the case. Although I would say that having a knight in these sort of time scrambles can sometimes be quite tricky for the opponent, because the knight can just be so strong. You can see the eval bar kind of jumping up and down. They're so low on time. They both only have like 7 seconds left. Let's see if someone flags even.
I think we just saw a blunder here. Black has that discovery picking up a pawn. So now black is up a pawn. They're isolated and separated. Oh my God. Vasilios had 4 seconds. They're both less than 10 seconds.
They're both less than 10 seconds. But here we can see the experience. The experience matters so much. And it feels like in the time scramble, Grandmaster is just playing better. Harsha is just playing better.
Oh man, black could have taken on a4, but they're pushing their h-pawn. How does white stop it? I don't
know how you stop it. That bishop is just so strong defending the h1 square of promotion. There's almost no way of stopping that pawn, I think.
Yeah, look at this bishop on the long diagonal. It's controlling both queening squares for the h-pawn and the a-pawn. That's a super bishop right there.
It is the most fantastic bishop you could ever ask for.
But
and
knight d5 blocks the bishop. So we see a trade.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a draw, or is black going to win this? We have resignation.
Well,
Okay, not even
the
trying.
resignation. The king is just too cut off. So that is the
Yeah.
problem. That the king is just not entering. That's why rook c6 is such a strong move, just making sure that the king stays on the b file. So that's just a very nice way of finishing the game. There's nothing for white to do there. But what a game it was. It looked as if Vasilius had a lot of chances, but then at the end, Harsha just played better with little time, it feels like. He was able to trade queens in a very dangerous situation for him, and then he just played better with little time and got the upper hand in that endgame after a blunder and ended up winning the game. And here we can see the final results of round 1. Webster does take 3 points versus Athens with 1 point. It was only Grandmaster Andreas Kaliris that was able to win on board number 1. So very solid performance by Webster, but I would say that the games showed more, variety than this. I mean, there was a lot of things going on in the games. I definitely think that we can see a comeback from Athens in the future rounds.
I don't expect it, Anna. I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, I think so. Did you see last game? Vasilius had a lot of chances here.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, I mean, okay, to give you some credit, yeah, Athens, those are very close matches for sure. I just think that Webster's just gonna outskill. Like, it's tough. You have 1 Grandmaster, they have 3. I mean, I don't know. That's more Grandmasters than that. So it's just an uphill battle, and we see it out the gate here. 3 rounds to 1, or 3 games to 1, sorry. But of course, 3 rounds remaining, like anything can happen. But Athens, this is their debut. They got 3 FIDE Masters I see here on boards 2, 3, and 4. So they all had tough Grandmaster opponents in the first round, but they could still definitely get some upset wins here.
I do think that they could. And, I feel like if you're going to be biased towards Webster, I should be a little bit biased towards Athens. I think that they can do the comeback story. Blitz is more than just the title, and in Blitz, anything can happen. And that is, one of the beautiful things about the Collegiate Chess League, that we get to see a lot of blunders, a lot of beautiful moves. It's just a big mix of everything. And that is the most exciting part. So we're seeing now round number 2 starting. Let's check out the games. Let's start with board number 1. We can see several moves have happened over there and see what is happening here. So, wow, I'm already seeing, did this become a no to boom? Am I correct about that? I've played this with black a few times.
I actually don't know what that opening is. Say that again? What was that?
I think it might be called, I'm not sure if it actually ended up being a no to boom, but it's very similar to a line called the no to boom, where you're just simply, as black, you're kind of slow in development, but you're kind of keeping your extra pawn on c4. So that becomes, it looks very scary, because obviously that light squared bishop is just very strong in this diagonal, but you are a lot of times being able to stop any immediate threats, and you're just playing with an extra pawn, which I quite like. I've played this with black a few times, but it's just a different way of playing than normal, like Queen's Gambit accepted.
Yeah, so my opening knowledge and repertoire in general is pretty low. So I just look at what Chess.com says. It says this is Queen's Gambit declined Catalan opening. I've never heard of the opening that you're saying. No to boom?
No to boom. It was my favorite opening growing up. I would have so much fun picking up pawns and just asking my opponents, what are you going to do about it? I'm a pawn up right now, and I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome. Well, I gotta definitely read up on that. But I like how White's playing this. We saw Queen H5 earlier in the previous match. We're seeing it again here. F6, maybe gonna create some weaknesses. But looks like Black has this under control. Knight, Rook, and Queen all helping support F6. So definitely still an even position. But White, I think, ahead in development, and it's a little bit easier for White to play.
I agree. I think that you're ahead in development. Now this e6 pawn could become a bit weak. I'm wondering what happens if Queen h3, threatening that pawn. If the knight moves, well, then you're going to be in some trouble, because there's pawn takes f6, and you don't want to take back with the pawn, because then the king becomes very weak. So, and if you go f5, then all of a sudden the g5 square becomes quite weak. So those sort of ideas could happen in the future. But we see Queen e8 being played, and now offering a trade of queens. If you go queen h3, then the pawn is defended now. So queen h4 is being played instead. No queen trade.
Yeah, it's good analysis. Black trying to trade queens because they're feeling a little bit of the pressure near the king. So yeah, white declines the trade, but this allows black to bring the queen in even more. Maybe a little bit of pressure on the knight, although it is defended. It's also queen opposite the king. This is typically pretty good. But we see this trade on f6. Yeah, computer's liking this. But what exactly is the follow-up here? Knight to e5, definitely pressure on the queen, opens up the bishop to defend our knight on e4, which was now attacked twice. And now black's gonna have to find a new home for that queen.
Black is definitely going to have to find a new home. Those knights look very strong. I'm really liking white's position. This was one of the reasons I stopped playing the no-to-boom. Like I said, I'm not even sure if this was a no-to-boom, but a lot of times what happens is that you just kind of lose a lot of initiative, and white can get some really active pieces. So this is definitely looking very good for Andreas Kaliris. And if he would get another win here, that would be a 2 out of 2. That would be a fantastic performance by him so far. So let's maybe check out the... Wait a second, before we do that, queen f5?
What's the problem? Oh
Queen
my goodness.
F5? Is the queen
Knight
getting
trade
trapped?
and then bishop to e4. It's a clearance tactic and a skewer all in one.
Will he see it? I think he's
He
thinking
doesn't.
about it.
Whoa, we see a queen sacrifice. I guess there was no, I guess the queen was trapped. I don't know what's happening.
Wow, this is now just completely crushing for white. He's drinking water. He knows that the game is over. He knows that he has a winning position. You can see it all over his face. He's going to get the win for Athens. What a crazy game.
I like that he's drinking water, so he knows it's over.
It's true. You can see it on someone's face. Let's check out the bird's eye view to see the other games so far too. But that should be a win for Athens. Let's maybe check out game number 2. We can also see that it looks like white has a slight advantage over there. And let's see how that game is going.
So this is David Drabensky, the only player not to get a point in the first round. This is their team captain. But yeah, I mean, we see Athens board 1 doing great, just won a queen against Grigoriy Cantor. Super impressive. He got the win in the first round, but it's up to Athens' other team, their lower boards, to start producing points as well. And David here, he's going to try to get on the board. He's the only one, like I mentioned in the first round, not to. So this is a big game for him, but it's actually looking good for Konstantinos here.
Yeah, no, I do think that Konstantinos, if he's going to win a game, this looks like a good opportunity for him. He's up on time. He has a pretty good position, it seems like. At least it feels quite comfortable, as it kind of feels like he's going to be able to take control of that A file. So I was thinking what happens if bishop b4, kind of threatening that knight, but with the idea of going maybe queen a1 later on and just kind of trying to pin down that knight. The knight on a5 doesn't have a lot of squares to go to. So I feel like it just looks very comfortable for him. What happens after bishop b4? He plays it. Or he played it. Yeah, there we go.
Bishop b4 on the board. And I love this queen a1 idea that you pointed out. I was thinking like queen a4, but you want to lead that battery with the rook. So looks like David's response is simply playing c5. Computer doesn't allow this. There was an en passant opportunity, but declined. Some people say it's forced, but it seems Konstantinos disagrees. How do you feel about that?
I think that you should play the best move, and I am sorry for all the people that say that en passant is forced. I think that chess is about playing good moves, and I'm sorry to all the Reddit people that, you know, disagree.
Wait, are you saying en passant's not the best move?
I don't want those words to be clipped from my mouth, Joe. I'm sorry, but I am saying that you should try to play good moves in chess, and sometimes en passant, unfortunately, is not the best move, and you have to be real to the situation. And I think that's, you know, why Konstantinos is 2,500.
Wow, that's crazy. I love that you said yo and then Joe. Like, you could have just said yo.
I could, but then I realized that was my Swedish accent coming out, and I could not.
Okay, My name in Swedish is Yo.
Yeah, it is.
Got
It
it.
is. It is Yo.
Nice.
Speaking of speaking of Reddit and speaking of chat, I actually have a question for chat, a very important question. And that is, Webster's university mascot is the Gorlock. Chat, I want to hear answers. What is the Gorlock? Extra points for wrong answers. We'll tell you the answers in a few minutes. I'm going to be honest, I don't know the answer myself. I don't know what the Gorlock is. Do you know, Joe? Do not say it if you do.
You know, so being from St. Louis, I should probably know, but if you thought a Gorlock is weird for Webster, their same city rivals, St. Louis University, also has a weird mascot known as the Billiken. So what's up with these St. Louis chess teams with weird mascots?
I don't know. I have no idea whatsoever. We used to, in my high school, we used to have a little pug, like a little, dog as a mascot. And then you had to always tap it 3 times before an exam to get a good grade on the exams. I think we had some weird stuff in our school too. So I think it's just part of schools,
Yeah, it's definitely a large part of a school culture. And last fun fact about mascots is my username online is Joe Bruin because that is the mascot of the school that I went to at UCLA. So I don't know, something about colleges and mascots, we're just obsessed with them.
Yeah. All right, well, let's see what's going on in this game, because it feels like white is just slowly but surely getting a better position. Look at that knight on f5. Like, because I think it was Kasparov that would call knights on f5 knives on f5, right? Am I right about that, Joe?
I've definitely heard them call that. I don't know who coined the term initially.
I think it was Kasparov. I'm not entirely sure, but at least it's, a coined term, knife and f5, just because this knight is so incredibly strong over there. Because you can never go g6 if you go g6 to h6 pawn fold. So you cannot really get rid of it. And we're still seeing the problem of that knight on a5 just keeping on, not having squares to go to. It went to b7, rook a1. Now white is just getting that a file. And I just think this looks very comfortable for white.
Yeah, and look at the time disparity. I mean, only 10 seconds for David, a minute 40 plus for Constantinos. So I think this is going to be a win for Athens, and we might actually see some progress here for the Athens players.
Exactly. Just like I told you, Joe.
Well, we've only seen the 2 boards so far. There's 4 games going on, so
let's check out some more games.
Yeah, we'll see if the rest of the Athens team can hang with the Webster Grandmasters.
Yeah, so let's check out actually board number 3. It looks like Aram Hakobian is having a really good position versus Vasilios Kasiumis. Looks like Vasilios' king is right now running into some issues. That pawn on h6 is just extremely weak. Let's see when we get that board up.
Yeah,
what is happening.
Have both kings on the h file and not a lot of pawns in front of them. White's queen very close, maybe too close for comfort. So White's definitely leading here. The threat is to just take on h6, like you pointed out. And it's actually White's turn. So instead, taking the knight first, trying to be calculated about this, not rushing. Is there queen takes e5 intermezzo, or is that just too much?
I think there's f4 after queen takes e5. So there would just be, I think, a piece loss for black if you went for that. So we see the trade of knights, and then bishop takes h6, just grabbing that pawn, the final pawn that was defending black's king. Now the king must feel very scared. I would be terrified here. There's not a lot of time left though, so obviously good moves need to happen, but this is so much easier for white to play, bringing maybe in a rook to g1 at some point, obviously maybe playing f4 to defend that e5 pawn, but black does have the d pawn to run with. So definitely could become a problem if white doesn't do anything about it. That's the one thing black has, it's the pawn.
Yeah, black has a passed pawn. It's supported by the rook, but white definitely has a lot of the pieces really close to the king. So I like your idea, f4 and rook g1. Can't play rook g1 right away because this pawn drops with check. We see bishop g5, maybe just clearing way for the h pawn, but black does have a chance maybe to take with check, but decides not to.
Yes. Rook g8 is played instead.
1 sec. Oh my god.
King e3.
Black made that move with 0.7 seconds left on their clock. They're both less than 5 seconds.
What is going on? This is absolutely insane. They're so low on time.
There's
There's
H6
literally
check.
no time left. Check.
Block, but now queen h5.
Back.
Check.
Queen h5.
Another block. Force the queen trade. Bishop takes with check. Doesn't do it. King up.
Instantly tries to pick up the pawn. The king is coming in. The rook is going to come in. The king, the bishop, everything. King g6. What is the king doing there, Joe?
It's getting mated there, Anna. It's getting mated there.
It's getting mated there. f7 check.
f7 and rook h1. No, rook b1 first.
Threatening
Now,
checkmate in one. The rook goes
now
back.
rook h1. Wow. Wait, but f7 check. That's it. Wow.
That's it. It's over. The game is over. Wow.
First win of
what
round two.
a finish to the game.
I mean,
beautiful attack at the end. I really like this rook b1, rook h1. I think that was really nice.
yeah, rook b1, such a nice touch, threatening the back rank mate, forcing the rook back, then h1 to get f7 with rook h8 to follow. Really nice technique in the absolute time scramble. Aram Hakobian 2 for 2 today.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And that just shows you need to keep that focus going all the way, because if you just miss a split second, you're just gonna make a mistake. Let's check out now. We can see the results that we've had so far, and it actually looks as if it's right now 2-1 for Athens. Am I correct?
Well, so far the white boards have been winning, so yeah, it's 2-1. But looks like white's gonna get that last point back here for Webster. Petros about to flag, but both players at 10 seconds or less. But okay, check, king up. White's just up too many pawns.
Wow.
Yeah, we see resignation. So
Yeah, there's the resignation.
but that's a great round for Athens. They tie it 2-2, so they're still down by 2 from that initial first round. But they have proven that they can hang here, at least for this round. They have to now win a round in order for them to have a chance at coming back and tying up the score.
They do. So round number 3 is going to be crucial for that. You don't want to be in that situation at the last round. You want to have a little bit of time before. So round 3 is going to be very exciting. We can see here the scores 5-3 for Webster so far, but we still have 2 rounds to go. Round 3 and round 4 are going to be amazing. Joe, do you think that we're going to be able to see Athens making a comeback in round 3?
I'm going to stick to my answer from earlier, but I do want to say I'm really interested to see Caleres play against these top boards from Webster, because so far those 3 players are all 2 out of 2. They're perfect, and I'm curious to see which one of them can remain perfect and keep winning, and which one's going to end up losing. So rounds 3 and 4 in the second half are going to be super exciting, and I'm excited to see them after our break.
That is right. We are going to be going on a short break, but don't go anywhere, because we will be back very soon with round 3 and 4 of this match.
Echitsale Vuga refers to what kind of chess?
Bughouse chess? I don't know. I have no idea.
Who defeated Viswanathan Anand in just 6 moves?
Lebanaronian? That guy.
What opening did Itzhafu refute in Bog Champs 2?
Or the London. Either the London, the Stonewall, or the Copycat. 3 answers.
Who was the #1 rated woman in 1984?
I don't know. Pia Cramling. Anna Cramling's mom, of course!
Who is the only player to have won a World Cup while not representing an EU federation?
Okay, who is it? And how could I get that wrong? He's a famous legend.
There's a lot Danny doesn't know about chess, but there are some things you do need to know. Danny's new course for Chessable covers everything you need to know in just 2 hours. Check it out for free today.
Everyone loves playing chess, and everyone loves Chess Club. But there's also a time and a place for playing all your favorite games.
Hey, we're trying to have a lesson here. You need to get out of here.
Recently, more kids have been playing chess than ever in school. But sadly, we've learned that they may not always be playing chess at the most appropriate time.
Eh ben classe, aujourd'hui...
While it might be sometimes okay to grab a game between classes or if your teacher gives you permission and hasn't given you an assignment, it's not okay to be playing chess in school when you aren't supposed to. And chess should never come between you taking your studies seriously and cooperating with your fellow students and teachers. Chess over the board or on the phone is a great way to spend time with friends. But let's make sure that this school year we don't let too much chess happen in the classroom. Focus on your school, because Chess.com will always be there when class is over.
Chess is cool! Respect your school!
All right, that was awesome, everybody. Great job.
Look what I did.
Danny, did you spell that?
Yeah.
Can we get some other letters, please?
What's wrong with it?
Welcome back to week 1 of the Collegiate Chess League presented by SIG. We're soon going to be seeing round 3s and 4s in an incredible match. But before that, let's talk a little bit about Webster University because they have a lot of accomplishments, which I know, Joe, you're very happy about. Do you want to tell us a bit about those accomplishments?
Well, we already talked about their President Cup run, 6 titles since 2013, but just a couple more fun facts about Webster. Their most popular major is business and commerce. And really fun facts, especially regarding chess, they're the first university in the US to offer chess and education as a minor degree, which I think is so cool. And another cool fact is their mascot is a Gorlock.
Joe, what is a Gorlock? We were talking about it before. I need to know, what is a Gorlock?
You know, I have the same question. If I had to guess, I mean, it sounds like some sort of mystical creature that you'd see in, like, I don't know, like Dungeons and Dragons or like wow, or I don't know, maybe it's like a wizard or your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, well, then I give up. Let's talk about something we do know about, Joe, and that is chess. We are going to be seeing round 3 now of this incredible match between the Technical University of Athens and Webster. And it is right now 5-3 for Webster. So they are having the lead. They are the stronger rating-wise team, but we are trying to see if Athens can make a comeback. And they need to do so now in round number 3. It's almost going to be too late if they don't do it now. So it is now or never. The games are about to start. Joe, will we see a comeback? I know you've said no in the past. Have I changed your mind? I'm trying to change your mind.
Okay, we all know my answer already, but I will say this. In the first match today, we saw Dallas with the lead going into the second half, and then UTRGV with the comeback. So that was definitely a switch there, and we might see that again. I mean, I was definitely impressed by round 2 from this Greek team, winning 2 games out of 4. So they were able to tie that. Maybe they have a comeback. Honestly, doesn't look great, but we have seen it before. Maybe this Webster team gets complacent, although I just don't think that's going to happen.
Let's see if it can come close to happening. Let's check out board number 1, because this is going to be a very exciting match. I think we have Harsha playing against Kaliris, and this is some of the 2 strongest players, in this match, if not the strongest. So we've seen that Kaliris has done a fantastic performance so far, but will Harsha be the first person to stop that fantastic performance? Will he be the first person to beat Kaliris today? We don't know. It's looking like a pretty solid opening. Both bishops are fianchettoed. What do you think about the position, Joe?
Well, we see same side castles. I think that white's pretty solid. Black definitely also pretty solid. Like, it's pretty even. I do want to add to that point that you brought up of both players being undefeated. So this is definitely a very critical matchup for Andreas and the Greek team. So this is their top board. This is their heavy hitter. If he can keep winning, that's going to be crucial for their chance at a comeback. But if Harsha can take him down and give him his first loss of the match and of the season, then I think that's going to look really well for this Webster team.
No, I do think that this is one of the most important games in this match. And what you said before is that the FMs in the Greek team, they need to be scoring points too. That's also going to be very important. So we are going to be checking out some more games. But we can see here that already now, this knight on c5, I think it's looking quite good. The pawn goes to d3. It feels like that knight on c5 is going to be there to stay, at least for a little while, unless white decides to play b4. But that can maybe be a little bit of a weakening move.
Yeah, notice how white has all their pieces only up to the 3rd rank, whereas black has entered rank 5. So black a little bit of space. The reason why this pawn goes to d3, we're preventing the knight hopping into d3, forking the rooks, but we're also keeping out a knight from e4. Notice both knights are controlling this square. So if the pawn went all the way up to d4, e4 would have been definitely a huge hole, and we're blocking our own bishop. So white definitely contained right now to their half of the board. I'm really curious to see if black is able to do something with the space advantage.
And I think also the other thing is that white actually wants to, I believe, go e4 at some point. But with that knight on c5, it becomes quite difficult to do so. However, if it would move, I think white in a good possibility, e4 would be really good, because you could even try to go knight d4, knight f5 later on, or advance e5. So if white is able to get that move in, I think they're going to be slightly better. So we're going to see maybe knight d4 will come anyways to go to f5, especially after this h6 move. Whenever you go h6, becomes harder to go g6. So maybe we will see knight d4 and knight f5 now.
Yeah, these squares are definitely key squares for white, and we see that move exactly as you called it. So yeah, knight f5. Is that going to be the next one? Are you going to just call every single move for this game, Anna?
I'm going to try to, Joe. I did not. Rook e2 did not pass my mind.
Dang. Okay,
Rook e2. I think the idea might be to go queen e1 and e4 actually at some point.
Yeah, there's a large fight happening over this e4 square. You can see black has all these pieces, 5 pieces controlling e5, whereas white has 1 pawn, 1 knight, 1 bishop, and the rook. So queen e1 would get a 5th piece involved. But I also liked your idea. If this knight were to ever move, that's going to release some of this pressure on e5 and help white make that break. So I was wondering if at some point, well, there you have it. The knight goes back. Is now the time to play e4, or is it premature?
I think you could perhaps do it, but it is also scary because bishop c5, I don't know if you can kind of create some problems in that diagonal with the knight and with, I don't know, towards f2. Maybe not. Maybe you can play e4, but it's always the question is, can you play it? Is it too early or is it not? But Joe, I am very excited about something because I can finally tell you what a Webster guard look is. Can you believe that?
You know what? You figured it out?
Yes, I magically figured it out. Well, you wanted to know what a Webster guard look is? Chat, thank you so much for all your answers. I've seen that you've been giving some fantastic creative answers. We are going to be getting a picture. That is what a Gorlock is. It is a mythical creature designed in part by Webster students and staff through a school contest. It has paws of a cheetah, horns of a buffalo, and the face of a Saint Bernard.
Wow. So it's like a
Did you know this?
It's like a hybrid, it's like a chimera.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't know that. But I can't wait to see the mascot rivalry matchup between Slew and Webster. We're going to have Gorlocks versus Billikens. I mean,
I like the mascot. I think it has a pretty friendly face, even though it's a mix of a lot of different animals and creatures. It has a pretty friendly face,
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, does the Athens team have a mascot? Do we know any Greek fans in chat?
I think it's more of an American thing, to be honest. That would be my guess, but maybe they do. Maybe they have an amazing mascot, but it feels like more of an American thing than a European thing. My school was just inspired by American culture, so that was why we had it.
I really like Greek food. Maybe they could have some, maybe like a pita wrap as their mascot.
I feel like a pita wrap is probably like the things we know about Greek food, when in fact there's probably so much Greek food that we don't even know about, apart from the more, stereotypical falafel or pita wraps or all of these things. But Greek food is absolutely amazing. I'm jealous of these people that can eat it every day.
Yeah. Greek or Europeans in general have pretty good food. But maybe not up in Sweden. I don't know. Although you guys have good meatballs, right?
We do, but that's it. We don't talk about Swedish food.
Your team could have your mascot could have been the meatballs.
You don't have a meatball as a mascot. That is the worst mascot I've ever seen. I do not want to have a meatball as a mascot. But yeah, we are seeing now d4 was just played and we're seeing a question mark on that move. e4 never got played. Instead it became d4. What a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, d4, you're in this structure, but I'm not a big fan of it as we're blocking that bishop and we're also giving up e4, like you said. So, yeah, I think this is actually maybe a good turn of events for this Greek team, right? I mean, look at Andrea's position now. He's got the opportunity to push, and he does so. We see a trade. This is a connected pass pawn. This is a huge benefit for Team Black, and they're both getting pretty low on time. They're about a minute and a half each.
They are getting low on time. We're going to see what happens in this game. But really quickly, we are going to be jumping to game number 3 because some crazy things are happening there. I'm seeing a bishop on h6 on a square where it should not be. And I am just wondering what is happening in the game between FM Vasilios Kasiumis and CM David Cherbinsky from Webster. What is happening?
Oh man, Vasilios with Greek gifts. I mean,
that's not a Greek gift though. That's on h7, right, Joe? But almost.
No. It's Greek gift because he's Greek, right? I thought okay, never mind.
That was a good joke. That was a good joke. But it's a brilliant move. That is what matters. It's literally a brilliant move. That is amazing. We've seen so many brilliant moves in these games. I'm so impressed.
Wow, the sacrifice, Greek or not. I mean, so okay, hold on. What was the position before this?
Yeah, we need to see it. I need to see where this came from.
We see so h6 questionable, and now takes double question mark followed by an X, then the double exclam. So maybe a rough road to get here, but destination has been achieved, and now black cannot take because rook takes. The h file opens, and probably queen h1's coming in. But okay, so ignoring this, but now bishop moves with a check, or now that the queen let up on this diagonal, computer likes bringing in the rook and making more space for white's pieces.
Yeah, I mean, if you just start stacking up all your pieces on that h file, it's just that pawn was crucial for black's defense. And now that the pawn is gone, the black king can almost not be defended. Look at that little smile from Vasilius. He has a slight smile. He knows that he's done a fantastic move. He knows that he made a brilliant move and that he could now win. And he also has 40 seconds more. So it's looking like a fantastic, fantastic opportunity for Athens and for Vasilius to bring that home. What a beautiful move. Is he going to find rook h4?
I mean, he's surely thinking about it. I'm looking at David's camera too. He's really leaned in. He's pressed up against the camera, hand on his forehead. He's feeling the pressure, and I don't think he's lost both games so far. So it's been a tough first half for him. Looking like he's gonna have a tough round 3 here as well, but he still has another round. He still has the rest of this game to play, but definitely not his best debut.
No. But, you know, obviously the tournament is still very long.
Whoa.
But whoa! We are jinxing it. Joe, I thought this game was over. It is far from over. So far from over. Wow, he thought that this would just be winning. This is what he was calculating. And it does look very strong. But what happens after king g8, queen takes bishop, queen g7, bishop takes d5? Why is this not winning for white? It does look winning. What is the line, Joe?
Well, I think that this bishop's hanging, also like queen takes looks like you can try to trade things. So maybe white gifted maybe too many gifts. He's being too generous with his pieces. He gave up the bishop, he gave up the rook. He won the bishop back, but now with queen takes f5, okay, there's one check, trade of queens, he takes an exchange, but yeah, the bishop on c4 just hangs in all of these lines. And now the knight's trapped. Oh my goodness.
Wow, what a comeback. He's going to lose. He's going to go from winning to losing. That is actually insane. I cannot believe that this happened. And it's one of those situations where it looks like everything is winning, but black just finds, you know, that one line and it just works. And there's nothing.
It's a draw now? Oh my god.
Rook takes knight? You're going to pick up all the pawns?
We're jinxing the players left and right, Anna.
I don't know how we're doing this. We should get an award for this. Wow. The pawn is going to fall f3. Then maybe you go d2 or king there. Okay.
Oh, I thought white would just play f3. Now you're losing the f pawn. No, back. But okay, there's d2 if you want.
Why is rook e3 not being played?
Now,
now
e6.
pawn.
Check,
okay, now
up the b pawn.
Now it's white that's once again pushing for the win.
The b pawn's the second b pawn is hanging.
What is happening? All the pawns are hanging down to a second. Cannot flag. 2 seconds. Rook check. Pick up the pawn. No, he doesn't pick it up. There's another
b4.
B4.
He's making pass pawns.
He's making pass pawns, and now he's 2 pawns up.
Check.
Very important check. And then maybe rook e3. And now he's fully in control. He's going to win that pawn. And he's going to be 2 pawns up. And this should now... He should be able to win this.
Oh, man. What a roller coaster of a game. I mean, David was completely losing to now winning. And then it was a draw. And now it's completely losing again. So, I mean, it's all working out for Team Athens. No,
it definitely is. And these are the kind of clutch moments that you need to be able to win as a team. You need to have some kind of lucky games where things go up and down, but you end up coming out winning. And now I believe just you go up with the king, the pawn on c4 can never be taken because then the other pawn is going to promote. And now you just push. And yeah, king c7, we're going to see resignation. Resignation is going to be on the board. Athens is going to take that game home.
Well, we're not seeing resigns just quite yet. David's putting up some last few moves of resistance here. Nice.
The keyword is last. Yeah. Now a queen.
Man, what a is he trying to stalemate? I don't. There's the mate. All right.
He's trying to stalemate. There's a checkmate in one. There we go. And that's it. That's a finish. Wow, what a fantastic game by Vasilius. Big round of applause to him for that. That was a beautiful, beautiful game that, he did a brilliant move. He was losing after opponent David found some great, resourceful defense. But then it just, the tides turned again. What a crazy game.
Yeah, good technique on that rook and pawn endgame there. So Athens getting some more points on the board against Webster's board 4, but how are the other games looking?
Yeah, that is the question. We can see already that Webster has had 2 wins, it looks like, on the other boards. So it is 7-4 right now to Webster. There's only 1 game to go, and that is board number 1, the game that we said was going to be one of the most important ones. We're going to check that out to see if there's any chance for Athens to, well, no, it's a draw. The moment we say that, it's a draw. So ends up in a draw over there.
Yeah, both these players were 2 out of 2 going into the second half, and they were evenly matched and ended up in a draw. So they're 2.5 out of 3, still undefeated, but the win streak snaps there for both these players. And there is only 1 player left with a perfect score. That is Webster's top board, Aram Hakobian, 3 out of 3. Last round, he's up against Athens' best player, Andreas, who we just saw get a draw. But essentially, Webster, they only need 1 point in this last round to secure the win. I have a feeling they're going to get more than that. If Athens comes back here, I mean, they're going to have an even more mythical mascot than a Gorlock.
That would be literally the most epic first match ever. I mean, that would be the most epic introduction for Athens into the Collegiate Chess League. That would really be incredible. Obviously going to be very hard, but you never say never, and nothing is impossible in this world. We've seen miracles happen before. We can see them happening again. Round 4 is about to start. Final round between these teams. I am really impressed by Webster, Joe. I was hoping that I could maybe see a little bit of a closer match at the very end, but I have to say, Joe, that I am impressed by Webster.
Yeah, I mean, this Webster team, they have all their accomplishments for a reason, and it's so exciting for them to join the CCL for a reason, because last 2 seasons, we saw Slew kind of take it away, and not too much competition for them, winning pretty smoothly in the playoffs. So with Webster joining, I think that this is just going to be a really exciting season, and it's up for debate who's actually going to be the favorite and to win it all. So we got a long season ahead of us. This is only week 1 of 7 for the regular season before playoffs even start. But even though Athens maybe not going to get the win today, I still think this is a very impressive result. Like, they're still hanging in it. The fact that they haven't lost by round 3, I mean, that's probably more than a lot of teams could say. And last thing I'll say about this is a reminder, this is only the top 8 teams in Division 1 for the Collegiate Chess League. We have 24 divisions this season, Anna. That's 376 teams. So, to even be in D1 in the first place is a huge accomplishment. And I'm sure these Athens players are stoked to just be playing on broadcast right now against such a strong title team at Webster. And looks like we might have a connection issue, but that's totally okay. Anyways, round 4, Athens versus Webster. We see game 1 starting. This is the top board for Athens. Andreas Kaliris versus Aram Hakobian. Andreas has the white pieces, so he just had a draw with the black pieces last round. He's back with the white pieces, which is a nice little advantage or bonus, if you will. But he's playing up against Aram Hakobian. He's 3 for 3. He's the top board from Webster, which is honestly a huge accomplishment in and of itself. But yeah, we got the players on their cameras there. Aram, welcome back, Anna. We missed you.
And you were saying some great things and I just laughed. But I am now back and I am ready to watch round 4. So excited.
Yeah, everyone was definitely starting to get worried and lonely there. So you know, that's great that you're back. Please don't leave me again, Anna. That was really
I will not. I will not. I promise you that I'll do my very best to not leave you again, Joe. We shall be in this together. So what have I missed? Have any big advances happened so far?
I was just watching this top board from both teams, and I think Andreas, he's doing well with white, but Aram's pretty comfortable with his time. You know, he's only spent about 40 seconds so far. But he's over 3,000 rated. I mean, that's pretty decent, right?
That is an understatement. It is very decent to be over 3,000 rated. Very, very, very strong chess player, obviously, Aram Hakobian. This is going to be a very interesting match to see. Andreas Kaliris has had a good match so far, winning the first 2 games and then drawing the last game too. So let's see if he can get a win now with the white pieces. Obviously, Athens really needs it, especially from their top player. This is going to be very hard to come back from, but you know, we will believe all the way till the end. I will believe all the way till the end.
Okay, yeah. I mean, listen, I want to believe it. I want to believe we're about to witness a 4-0 sweep of the Greek team. I mean, listen, if the internet connection at Webster is as bad as yours is in Sweden, then maybe there's a chance. So we don't want to rule it out just yet.
Okay, true. Honestly, true. That could happen. Let's see some other games too, Joe. I want to check out some of the other games. I'm seeing Konstantinos on game number 2. That game is looking quite interesting. Because it looks like there's quite an interesting pawn structure there with the pawns on b3, a4, c4, and then black kind of has this kind of hedgehog kind of setup, it feels like, with the pawns on a6 and b6, and you know, all of those pawns look a little bit passive, but that's, you know, what the hedgehog is. It looks passive, but then at some point everything opens up and you just have a good position where you've developed a lot of your pieces. Look at that bishop and queen on b8.
Yeah, I mean, love the diagonal pieces. White's got this pawn chain, though, on the light squares, same diagonal as the king. But it looks like black's just trying to start knocking on the door and start breaking these pawns down. So d5 on the board. I like it. Lots of tension. I love this like symmetry that white has built with these pieces. Queen on e1, bishops on e2, e3, knights on c2, c3. I love this formation that white set up. That's really interesting.
No, I agree. I think that white's setup is a really interesting formation. But now we see the key move was d5 for black. And I think that now with that queen and that bishop looking towards h2, and then that bishop on b7, it's like all of black's pieces are kind of in the starting rank, but they're all kind of attacking and they're all ready to, you know, go to their full potential. So I really like black's position here. I think it's actually a great position. And those rooks are just so strong too on c8 and e8. So much stronger than the white rooks right now.
Yeah, so this is looking good for Athens player. But Harsha, not out of it yet. In fact, maybe a slight misstep here from Konstantinos. Knight takes d5. Do you like this move or not so much, Anna?
I think I do. What I'm kind of worried about at some point is if there's some trades on d5 about that e3 bishop at some point becoming very weak, because there could be situations where rook takes c2 can be played and then rook takes e3. And that is, I think, the threat right now.
Well, what just happened? Can I get a slow motion replay of this? How long has h2 been hanging? Oh, that's the point of d5. So it's been there for a while. White takes, we see the trade, and now bishop takes h2.
Yeah.
Starting to create some weaknesses in White's camp.
That's why I was really hyping up the bishop and the queen. That's why I got so excited about it, because that h2 pawn was hanging. And now it's the queen h4. Okay. How many games have we seen with the queen going to the king side? It feels like it happens every game. Like, when is that queen gonna show up? It always ends up showing up, and it's showing up again, threatening the bishop, maybe putting some pressure on Black's king. But is it real, the pressure, or is it just an illusion?
Well, I think the pressure on h2 is real for sure, and the pressure on the king. I mean, as soon as White gets that bishop on d3, there's going to be some more pressure. So we've seen the queen go to the h file, attacking the king, like a ton of, like, you know, almost every round, and it's for good reason, right? The queen's such a strong attacker, such a strong piece. So what's interesting is, yes, we lost the h pawn, but maybe there's a world where the king can somehow get out of the way, the rook goes to the h file, and we can use it for our advantage. But for the meantime, that looks pretty impossible. This bishop on g3 is just really annoying. And as you said, maybe this attack is an illusion, and Black is definitely firmly in the driver's seat here.
No, I do think so, but only time will tell, right? Oh, now we're seeing that rook coming into that looks so strong, threatening rook h5. Yeah, it looks so strong, because the thing is that if the king goes to g1, White's king doesn't really want to be on a dark square because of the very strong hold Black has of the dark squares. So after rook h5, I don't even know how you prevent this. But we're also seeing, very important to note, is that right now there's a bishop hanging, but if queen takes bishop, the idea is that there's rook h5 check, and then that queen on b8 that is right now hiding on the other side of the board will be able to capture that queen. So Black will be winning that queen, although maybe that is the best thing White can do, to trade the queen for a bishop and a rook.
That's crazy. That's a really nice idea here from Black. Love it. Rook e5, leave the bishop hanging, but you're just going to add another attacker, and rook h5 is probably going to land anyways. Where can the queen go exactly, Anna? Do you have an idea?
Well,
this is my idea.
Capture the rook.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Rook e5, what an awesome move from Harsha. And a reminder, Webster only needs 1 point to win the match, and this very well could be it. But there are other games still happening on the other boards. Maybe we could take a quick bird's eye view.
Let's take a bird's eye view. Also, just to look at the eval bars right now, right? We're seeing that Webster is getting a probably win there on board number 2. It also looks very strong for Webster on board number 3 against Vasilios. The other two boards seem to be kind of equal so far, but like you said, Joe, right now the only thing that Webster needs is 1 more point. After 1 more point, the match will be won for Webster, as they will get 8.5 points. So it is looking like Athens is going to need the biggest miracle in the world. Chat, do you think that there is any chance that Athens can pull a miracle? Because if they did, this would be the most beautiful story that could ever be told. But it is going to, yeah, it's going to require a very big miracle. Let's check out some of the other games. Should we do that, Joe? Maybe board number 3.
You know, I think we might just see a result happen in bird's eye view. Like, as soon as a result happens, like, we're gonna know the results of the match.
That is true. We can wait here.
We were talking about miracles. What are the odds? Like, maybe what, less than 1%, or?
I would say
is
that
it?
the odds.
Wait.
No, I would say less. I would say like
All right, so now it's 0.
0.3%. It is okay. It's done. It's done now. Yeah, there it is. Not even 0.3. I was being kind there. Grigoriy Cantor thus win his game against FIDE master Vasilios Kasoumis, which means that Webster is on 8.5 points now and therefore wins the match. What an epic match it's been, though. It's been so fun to see Athens, even though they were the underdogs, being able to score some points. Hopefully they'll be able to score a little bit more in this final round, even though they've already lost the match. But they've put up a good fight, and it was their first time making a debut here in the Collegiate Chess League, and they got paired against one of the strongest teams. It's obviously very difficult to play against, such a strong team, but I'm excited to see what a journey Athens can take in this tournament in general, and also Prague. I'm very excited to see what Prague does. Maybe what happens between Athens and Prague when they play each other. That's going to be very exciting too.
They're guaranteed to play each other at some point in the season, so that'll be cool. It is a round robin, so all 8 teams will play against each other in the regular season. And I also do want to mention, even though the match is over, these games still matter in the last 3 boards, because the total score of each match gets added up, and that score in total is used as a tiebreak at the very end of the season for the playoff seeding. So score 4.5 right now for Athens. Maybe they could get a couple more points, maybe a win or a draw or 2. There's still stuff to play for.
No, there definitely is. And that is, I think, what's important right now, that Athens needs to just not really get too upset about the fact that they've lost the match. They need to just try their best to get as many points as possible. Those half points matter too. It's every single point that matters. So we are seeing right now David Cherbinsky versus Petros Ramanidis. I'm sorry. There we go. Joe, I want to see you pronouncing some of these names. I've been doing it the whole show.
Well, you've already started, so it helps me out. But yeah, Petros Ramanidis. And this is David Cherbinsky. This is the Board 4 captain for Webster. We've been saying all season, technically all season, but all match, can he get some points, right? This is his last opportunity. And this is an absolute time scramble. I don't know. It's so back and forth. What's happening?
Yeah, it's very back and forth right now. It seems as if Black is taking the upper lead there with that D pawn, with that open B file for the queen and the rook to dominate. But what does White have? White has quite a lot of strong pawns that could maybe march up towards the king, but I feel like that D pawn is just right now being so incredibly strong. And maybe you can go here something like, Queen B5 to later prepare the rook moving somewhere.
I love this technique here from Petros. He's forcing a queen trade, and with the queens off the he could have also picked up the e-pawn. We see the e-pawn is just trying to be sacrificed, but hold on. Trade of queens, and now this pawn's hitting the rook. Can we push? Wait, we have taken? I'm not sure.
King F8. At the moment you push, there's King F7. I think here the big issue that White has is just that A-pawn that is just going to force the rook to stick to the A file, But this should be just a win. It's just about the technicalities.
David's had such close games, and he's just come short every single time. Tough debut for him. But just the first match of the season, he's got a lot of chances later to move on and to pick up the pace. Definitely good for Athens to keep getting some of these points and use that to help their tiebreak score in the long run.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, a little bit tough for David. Obviously, he doesn't look super happy right now. But like you said, the season is long, and that is the fun part. This is just week 1. We have plenty of weeks to go for this Collegiate Chess League spring season. So going to be very exciting to see what all these players can do in future rounds as well.
Yeah, David loses game, and you see there, Petros knows it's finished. He's swiveling around. It's a little dark. What time is it over there in Europe?
It's 11 p.m., Joe. It's almost 11 p.m. We're getting very close to 11 p.m. So it is dark. It doesn't look like he has a lamp, really, apart from the, light from the screen. So yeah, that is how it looks right now in Europe.
Yeah. You see the light is out for David Cherbinsky. Final score. Athens got 6 points to Webster's 10. So Webster, with their CCL season debut, winning their first match against University of Athens. So congrats to Webster and the Gorlocks for winning, and we're really excited to see where they move on from here. And to Athens, tough match to start, but like I said earlier, only up from here, and they're gonna have more chances in the future to get some points.
Yeah, no, definitely they're going to have plenty of chances. And I'm very impressed with Athens. I mean, I know that I was saying in all the way that Athens could win the whole thing, but obviously I knew that Webster was a very, very, very strong opponent for them. And I'm very impressed that they got 6 points. And they definitely put a good match. And if some games would have gone their way, maybe they would have had even more of a chance. So I think it was a fantastic match by Athens. And I'm excited to see where they go in the future rounds, and also to see if Webster is able to keep up this amazing chess that they've been playing.
Yeah, and don't leave just yet. We do have a player interview from Webster to be joining us in just a moment. So really excited to have one of their players. Maybe the chat can guess who it is. Maybe one of their top players.
Should we leave them guessing? Should we tell them?
Should we tell them?
I don't know. I kind of want to tell them. Okay, I'm gonna tell them. Okay, I'm sorry, Joe. You chat. You can spam a little bit right now. Guess who you think it is for just a few seconds whilst I am prolonging my monologue right now. You can try to guess who it is. But in case you haven't guessed it yet, we are going to be having an interview with Grandmaster Aram Hakobian. He's going to be coming right after the break, so don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this interview. We'll see you very soon.
It's crazy. Oh my God. I don't feel it yet because there's so much spice already in my mouth. Turn the thermostat up. Please, no milk.
Awesome.
No milk. No f***ing milk, James. I'm gonna go to the ambulance.
What's up, everyone? Chess is hard as it is, but we're about to make it even harder by playing chili chess. For every type of piece we capture, we are gonna eat a chip with some hot sauce on it, starting with the pawns, knights, bishops, and rooks, a queen, and then the loser of the game is gonna eat this drenched chip over here.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Here we go. And here we go.
Oh man, we battled a lot in the... It's like you letting me take
Okay,
it.
sounds good.
Instant, you must be hungry, bro.
I'm too scared to capture.
Take it, bro.
No, because then we have to eat the...
You know what? Now you gotta eat the freaking chip.
All so big.
Yes.
Oh,
right.
man. Oh. It feels like I'm inhaling a barbecue. I hate that one.
That's pretty good.
God. That is the official.
Your turn, buddy. Beautiful.
That was weird, man. It's like citrusy, but like...
Correct.
Kind of tastes like...
You know what? That's exactly what it would taste like.
I'm rolling up, man. We got the end game with the chips. This is
Hey,
torture.
which one do I want? Okay. None of you. I'm back.
I like how silent psychological battle. Nobody's drank milk yet.
Right.
We're like, okay. All right. Word looks different when you high on spice.
Oh man, I'm hitting different. Oh, ship's kind of hot to be shipping like that. Oh, it's definitely getting hot in this room, guys. You didn't turn the thermostat up?
Oh, I took a pawn, mister.
Oh, you took a pawn. You did. Damn, bro, you catching everything.
Ah! Oh!
Let's check.
Oh my God, I lost on time. No!
Oh, that's not what?
Oh my God.
You know. Okay, so the problem is, I don't feel it yet because there's so much spice already in my mouth. So it's probably gonna be like how Magnus said, creeps up on you. Yep, now it's starting to creep up. I feel it. I feel it.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go to the ambulance. I'm gonna call them people right now.
On my hand.
Please.
No milk.
No milk.
No milk. We're doing this with no milk. No f***ing milk, James. It's like two brothers. We in a ditch somewhere.
Yep.
Explosions all around.
No milk. We asked them, you need a Band-Aid? No, I need no milk. No milk. I'm gonna feel that for a few days, 2 hours.
Bro.
I did, bro. I did. But your brain don't work right with all the spices and stuff.
No, man. Bro, I can't feel my fingers.
Oh.
Same time next week?
Sure. It's a date.
I'd classify trading as a game really that you're playing with competitors and basically every market participant in the world. My path, I came in as a poker player, but I think that the main thing that everybody has in common is a sense of competitiveness and interest in gaming and strategy in general. Yes, you can actually use gaming skills for your career and for something to do on a day-to-day basis.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's matches were presented by SIG, and now we are joined by Webster Grandmaster Aram Hakobian. Hello, Aram. It is so good to have you here, and congratulations for a fantastic performance in your team's debut.
Hi guys, thank you.
How did it go? How are you happy with how it went today? Did it go like you thought it was gonna go?
I think so. We did quite well. I think we won the match with a big margin, and our team did well, and we hope to continue with the same way because I think we are one of the favorites, if not the main favorite. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but for today, I'm quite happy.
Of course you are. And do you have any specific expectations for your team this season?
I think it's the first time that Webster is participating in this event. So our goal, I think, is just to have fun. We don't have
That's a great answer.
expectation. Yeah.
Well, you know, some people will say that winning is fun. So I'm sure you guys also have high expectations on yourself to succeed. But obviously having fun is the main thing. Collegiate Chess League is free to join, but you guys also compete in other events. We mentioned a lot about your over-the-board events. I know recently, just earlier this month down in Texas, you guys actually played in Pan Ams. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about that and if you qualified for the President's Cup.
Yes, it was a Pan American this year was a quite tough event. But I mean, of course, our goal every year is to win the tournament. But in this year, the competition was really tough, and we got third. But we still achieved our one of our goals, which is to qualify for the President's Cup's Final Four tournament, which is going to be held in, I believe, Dallas this year. I mean, in April. So our goal there is to win the tournament, and we're gonna prepare very hard for that one.
Now, I have a question that is a little bit different to the chess questions, but I got to know that Webster University has a very special mascot called a Gorlock, and we got to see some pictures of it. What is a Gorlock? Can you explain it to us?
That's a very good question, but I'm not sure if I'm the right person to ask, because I personally myself don't know anything about Gorlock as well. But it's definitely an interesting character. That's what I can tell.
That's great. That is great. Thank you. We are happy to know that we're not the only ones that didn't know what a Gorlock was.
That's awesome. Well, you yourself are a Gorlock, Aram. So, yeah, I'm glad that we aren't the only ones to not know. But yeah, I wanted to thank you for joining. This is obviously your first time in the CCL, and I'm glad that you guys were able to get your first win and on the debut. So did you have any other expectations? Like, obviously you're playing for fun, but who do you think is your biggest competition in the Collegiate Chess League?
That's a good question. I think Mizu is there. St. Louis University is also quite good. They also have good blitz players, so which is far more important. But I do believe that we are the favorites.
It's good to come in with confidence. That is the spirit of a winner. We actually had one final question, and this question is from chat. They've been able to ask some questions themselves, and they were very curious to know, at what age did you start playing chess, and who was your first opponent? Do you remember this?
I think I started to play at age of 6. And my first opponent was my dad and also my coach. So, yeah, I learned thanks to him, yeah.
That's very nice. That's very nice. Chess running a little bit in the family.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aram, for your time.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Thank you. And good luck in your future rounds as well.
Thank you.
So, we've had a fantastic first week of the Collegiate Chess League, but there are more things that are going to be happening. We have a lot of events coming up, such as Tata Steel, which is happening, right now, obviously. We have the Collegiate Chess League Week 2, which we're gonna be here, you and me, Joe, once again, commentating it. Gonna be so much fun. Out of all of these events, which event are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I'm going to be biased yet again. Obviously, Collegiate Chess League Week 2. I mean, what a start to the season today. An honor to be here with you doing it, and I can't wait to be back with you again next week. We're going to tease a little bit of the matches. We're actually going to see the winners from today playoff. UTRGV is going to take on Webster, so that's going to be super exciting. And we're going to have another debut for the other international team, Prague, who's going to take on our defending champions, SLU. And that's just 2 of the 4 matches. So no matter what, next week's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, that first match is going to be very, very, very strong. I'm very excited to see what happens there, because obviously Webster might be one of the favorites, but we saw that UTRGV played fantastically today. So we'll see what happens there. But we wanted to give a big thank you to everybody for joining us in this first week of the Collegiate Chess League presented by SIG. I am so happy that I get to host this with you, Joe. It's been a blast. I'm sad that I missed the fall season, but at least I'm making up for it by being here for the spring season. And thank you so much once again to everybody for watching. We will be back next week, the 27th of January, at the same time for week 2 of the Collegiate Chess League. Once again, presented by SIG. We will see you all then. Thank you so much for watching.